Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Wednesday night. So that means the Fantasy Jerks are back. My name is Anson Wells. I'm joined by Brandon Kaz over here. Of course, my man, the Bomber, Brendan Bomber in the sound booth.
What is up?
I'm in the fantasy league, that Brendan Bomber.
Yeah, we got Ryan back as well in the TD booth, making us look good today. How your fantasy squads, gentlemen?
Yeah, strong week last week. I think it was 4-0.
All of them,
So,
4-0?
yeah.
I'm 3-3 in
6-2.
both week 1 and 2. How about you, buddy?
I split even this week, but in the fantasy jerks, I mean, putting up 180 plus points, there's nothing better than you could. When every player in your lineup scores at least double digits, I don't think there's a sweeter thing than watching that unfold on a Sunday.
Looking down that spreadsheet.
Must be
seeing
doing some good, clean living, that
Oh, yeah.
Bomberito.
Oh, yeah, big time clean living, except for he's a Spartan, so not all the time. Not all the time. But, yeah, we will get into the Fantasy Jerks League at the end of the show. You give you guys an update on where we are on that. Shout out to our partners, fantasypoints.com. If you want to head on over to them, Ryan will show you a graphic in just a moment here. Just put in Woodward when you're checking out. You're going to save yourself some money on the premier analytics site in fantasy football. And they have got Ryan Heath, a guy that I've already been following on Twitter. One of the
He's building the buzz.
he is rising faster than any young fantasy expert I have ever seen. There you see the Fantasy Points homepage. Check it out. Great articles. They have an amazing staff with all of the premier guys from fantasy football.
Have you used the wide receiver quarterbacks matchup?
Of course.
The dude last week, it was like damn near perfect.
I
Made
can't-
a couple fringe calls for me.
Like, I know we're supposed to talk up our sponsors and our partners, but the site is something I've been looking for 20 years playing fantasy football.
Let's go to
Too legit to quit? Yeah. I haven't seen that one in a while. So, yeah, guys, we got the analyst coming in at 8 o'clock. He'll be with us for 15 minutes. You don't want to miss that, but let's dive right in.
Right in.
These are the big-time surprises in a good way and in a bad way. We're going to talk about the guys that were top 3 at their position or top 10 at their position last year and are out of the top 10. I know, small sample size, only 2 weeks, but we're going to break down each position, and we're going to let you know whether we think they're there to stay or whether it's just some smoke and mirrors. Starting things off, 3 guys at the quarterback position. Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones at Indy, a Mr. Justin Herbert, 2-0 for the Los Angeles Chargers. Don't call them Clippers. And the old man, Russell Wilson. Who do you want to
Mr.
talk about
Moonball.
first, Brandon?
Well, let's talk Russ. That leash, I still believe, is very short. He had a good game at the end, nearly threw that pick. I just, it feels like pretender with Russ. I think it's kind of still only a matter of time. I'm not rostering Russ in any league whatsoever. I think Dallas's defense is most likely absolutely terrible.
Russell went off in his game the other
did.
day.
Moke and smears.
But the big thing about it was, for me, is that in the midst of this unbelievable game that he's having, they bring in the rookie Jackson Dart.
The Mormon Matt Stafford.
Mormon Matt, as you
The
call
soaker.
him. Honestly, to me, it's wild that they did that in the midst of a game where they bring this guy in, they sign him. This is the game you're looking for out of Russ, and then they take him out in the second half. They put in oh boy, Jackson Dart for what, 1 or 2 series.
Yeah.
Then they pull him. I don't get that, and to me, that's yet another reason why I can't buy into Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and what a game, though. I mean, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Throwing it back.
Wandale drafters probably weren't starting them, but a lot of Wandale on benches.
We'll be talking about Wandale here just coming up, but let's move on to Justin Herbert, because I think we were all talking before the show. Justin Herbert, out of these 3 guys, feels the safest. I mean, for the last 5 years, we've been waiting for this guy to ascend to that top 5, 6 quarterback spot. I was never a believer. Jim Harbaugh started to get him playing consistently last year. And what we've seen out of them for the first 2 weeks, 2 wins, great distribution of the ball in the passing game. And if anything, it's that run game that we thought was going to be so powerful that struggled, if anything. Where are you at with Justin Herbert?
I love Justin Herbert. Always loved Justin Herbert. Got the best offensive play. Even with Slater out, best offensive line of his career. Those targets, Quentin Johnston looks good. His comfort.
QJ looks real good. Another guy we'll be talking about here very shortly.
Yeah, our boy Keenan's back there. Lad McConkey. They look fantastic. They're calling a good game. But the thing is that defense is just so incredible.
Keep giving them the ball.
Yeah, they look to me right now like a top 2 or 3 team in the AFC. They look
Top 5 finish for Justin Herbert. Where are you at on that? Do you think it happens?
I still got to see a little more with his legs. He's running a little pure in the touchdown category right now, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's definitely
we could see it in
possible.
his future. Yeah, I think that right now he's supporting 3 fantasy wide receiver options. There's not really a lot of guys that can tell you they can do that, even with Lad McConkey being a little bit, might want to say a disappointment, but it's early for the guy. But Quentin Johnston, Lad McConkey, and Keenan Allen all should be starters in your lineup because Justin Herbert is he's a top 5 QB talent-wise, and I believe that, Harbaugh being in there now, knowing the system, that this is the year the Chargers really get it together, maybe win that division.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had QJ in their lineups this week. I think a lot of people slept on Keenan Allen, and he proved them wrong again. The guy is ageless at this point. Are you going out and trying to acquire?
Got that old man game.
Oh, yeah. But you got to remember, this is Justin Herbert's number 1 wide receiver for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it just happened to be Lad McConkey who got to step into that role last year. I am worried about Lad McConkey right now if I'm a Lad McConkey
There's a
owner.
lot of people worried about
He's
Lad
drawing
McConkey.
the 3rd most targets on that team behind QJ and Keenan Allen. Are you going to go out and try and acquire Justin Herbert, gentlemen?
I am. I think Lad McConkey, I'm not worried about him as well either. I think, Huge and Keenan will get their play on this team, but if you watch that game, Lad out there is looking like a young Keenan Allen, the way that he is recognizing space in these zone defenses, these crisp routes that he's running. I think that there will be a shift somewhere in the season where he starts to get the primary targets in these offense. And, yeah, for that reason, I am going after Herbert and going after maybe selling high on Keenan, definitely buying on Lad McConkey.
On Lad, huh?
Yeah, so
I don't feel
my
good about the
situation
Lad.
is, me either. My situation is I still like him in Dynasty a
Oh,
lot.
of course.
Right, how many years does the old man have left, right? But with Herbert, me personally, I'm kind of stacked at QB. But if I don't have a QB for the folks that did draft him and maybe have, somebody really fantastic in front of them, they might be willing to trade him at a small profit, but you could still profit from that situation.
That buy low window is shutting quick on Justin Herbert. And the last, let's give you the breakdown real quick, though. I have it here. Last year, Russell Wilson was QB number 24. He sits at 6 right now. Justin Herbert, number 12 last year. He sits at 5. And the man they call Indiana Jones,
Yes.
a.k.a. Danny Dimes, number 2 quarterback right now. And last year, well, it was a lot uglier. He was QB 29 last year. This is a guy that most people wrote off. Now he goes to Indy. He's got a run game. He's got a
Sure does.
premier tight end right now, number 2 tight end in fantasy in Tyler Warren. And then you get a chance with the wide receivers. You got Pittman. You got some big guys on the outside, Alec Pierce, Adonai Mitchell, one of the best offensive lines in
Downs
the game.
coming back, getting healthy.
And Downs had a big game yesterday,
Yep.
over the weekend.
Yep.
Is this team for real? And are you buying
so.
Danny?
Yes.
They just beat Denver.
I called that on Friday, too. I got a lot of shit for it.
They should not have won that game.
Well, sure, but they
they
did.
won.
They won it, though.
All right, a win's a win, but I'm buying Indiana Jones.
I am too.
I'm buying Indiana Jones. I think
Stock's expensive right now.
He's done it before.
He's on waiver wires right now, gentlemen.
He's been the QB6 before.
Yeah, his rookie year. He was very good his rookie year. And people forget that franchise and their head coach are jokes. You saw what Saquon did when he left town. Now you're seeing what Danny Dimes is capable of when he left town. Picked him up in 2 leagues. Sadly, in the Woodward Network League, JJ and Burrow. So kind of had to.
There's a lot of people in some quarterback trouble, and I think we are going to talk some quarterback trouble.
Yeah, let's hop right into that. You're buying Danny Dimes. I'm buying Danny Dimes. Are you buying?
Yeah, if I could, I mean, I don't need him.
Indiana Jones. How about you, Brennan?
Buy him.
I'm in on him. I just wish he would stop stealing my goal line touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor.
I know it. And that's another thing about him is he is mobile. Had a touchdown with his legs over the weekend. So
that's 3 on the season.
that's right. Moving on, we're going to start off with Jalen Hurts, who at this point is the number 15 quarterback. He was number 9 last year. A lot of people confuse him with one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Ouch, Anson. You mean Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts?
That's right. The Super Bowl champion.
The last 5 fantasy league championships.
Who has Saquon Barkley next to him, stealing so much of his shine.
He missed a couple games, but in points per game, I still think he was 3 in the league.
That tush push does wonderful things.
It certainly does. It certainly does.
He started
Sitting at 15,
missed a couple games.
yeah, I'm not worried about it. They were calling for the head coach's job in Philly halfway through the season last year. Hurts will turn it on, but we haven't seen him go to his wide receivers. It's been pure ground and pound fantasy numbers and production for Hurts at this point. So he sits at number 15. If somebody is willing to trade him and is worried about that offense, worried about A.J. Brown, are you buying?
Yeah, especially at a discount.
Sure. Same thing for me. I think that Hurts right now at 15 is a guy that will be a top 8 quarterback that you can probably get right now. On to the next one, Kyler. He was number 10 last year. He's sitting at 19. We expected this year to be Maserati, Marvin Harrison's big breakout year. We've seen some good stuff from him to start. You got McBride over there who's supposed to be this top-end tight end, and so far he's top 5. Why can't Kyler get it done? I thought maybe this is a year he'd be a top 10 guy.
I mean, it's lining up, right? It should be lining up. They have a bottom third schedule. The defense in that division isn't fantastic or wasn't coming into the season. Looks like it might be a little bit better. But, this should have shaped up this year. I could see a turnaround, but honestly, I think that they're going to be playing for number 2 or 3 draft pick this year.
Okay.
It feels like.
Yeah, I'm not an Arizona guy myself. Moving on to Bo Nix, number 7 last year. Surprising that he finished number 7 as quarterback last year. But this guy was left on draft boards very, very late, past the 10th round. Right now he's sitting at 22. We talked last week about who the number 1 wide receiver was. A lot of people said Cortland Sutton. Last week it was Troy Franklin. The running game kind of seems a little bit mysterious. They got a new guy in J.K. Dobbins there who looks good, but you got R.J. Harvey waiting in the wings. It seems like they have a 1-2 punch. You get Evan Ingram back. I'm not quite sure what the identity of this offense is, but I don't think anybody understood the identity of the Denver Broncos last year until the second half of the season, Brendan.
Right, yeah. I mean, you saw him struggle early in the first half of the season last year and pick it up towards the end. That's what we're hoping to see from him at the end of this year. He is kind of Justin Herbert-esque out there in some ways, where you watch some of these throws that he makes. There's a throw where he was rolling to the left this week, threw it on the run to Troy Franklin, just beautiful over the shoulder, could not have been a better pass. He has this in him to be an elite-level QB. It's just these mistakes that he makes, and he's early in his career, so can he correct those? We'll see.
Nix, Kyler, and Hurts. Which one are you picking to finish top 8?
Well, Nix and Hurts. I think Nix is still going to make it.
Who do you like better, Nix or Hurts?
Hurts.
I think it's Hurts. I mean, they're going to get better as the year goes on. The Eagles, look, they just played the Chiefs, went in there and won. I think Nix, he's due for a sophomore slump a little bit. Kyler Murray, I think the writing's on the wall with Kyler Murray. I know he's going to continue to play year after year because, money and everything, but I think
too short.
He could be too short as well. That could be a factor. But no, I'm going to say Hurts out of all of them. He's done it before. He's mobile. He can use his legs. And again, they're going to push his way into the end zone at least once every 2 weeks. So
no doubt about that.
At least.
With Nix, I mean, he looks good. I know he made a couple mistakes. That defense has not been
what they were supposed
to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's building a connection with his college teammate. It's Troy Franklin season, guys. I told you last.
Oregon duo.
Yeah, man, he's his best player comp is Jamison Williams.
I like that.
I mean, they're
didn't-
like
I-
Hopefully
I
not
clones
the
of
off the
each
field
other.
stuff.
I didn't tell you he was the number one receiver in that offense last week, did I?
No, I did.
No.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Look, check the tape.
I don't know. We might have to go get some receipts there, jerks. But let's move on to the running back room. Our guy, Bomber, is 2-0 on the back of one Javonte Williams, a guy that was often injured over in Denver. As a rookie, really showed some promise and just seemed like he had that explosiveness sapped from him through those
Is
injuries.
he a sell-high candidate?
Could be. A lot of this is touchdown deodorant. He's got 2 touchdowns in each game. That really inflates that fantasy total that he put up over the 2 weeks and where he's sitting at right now.
I imagine touchdown deodorant smells like Irish Spring
Either that or Goff the Chain.
or Brute.
One of those two. Ooh,
Something green.
Brute. There you
Yeah.
go. But Javonte Williams to me is very intriguing. 32 last year overall. Number 4 he sits right now. I don't think that the touchdowns continue, but at the same point, it looks like Dallas's offense is absolutely fine. You add in
does.
Pickens, and they're moving the ball. So does Javonte continue to get access to the end zone the way we've seen through 2 weeks?
I don't see why not. I could see him going on, but at the same time, I could see him breaking down. He is young. He doesn't have a ton of miles. He was hurt.
Often.
He's been
mean,
injury
this guy is
prone,
a
but maybe he gets
prospect.
it together. He sure was.
This guy, and not to correct you, Anson, but he did only have 1 touchdown this past week.
Oh, it was
And-
1? I
and
thought it was 2.
That's why it seemed like he had 2, because he actually outscored.
You can
his
correct me
previous
all you
week.
like. Be a
And-
jerk.
Right, yeah. Anson, you got to get that right.
There you go.
But 7 targets, 6 receptions for Javonte Williams. That's what gives me
That's the
hope. He's
breaker
getting
there.
the passing down work. He's out there in the 2-minute drills. I mean, Miles Sanders stole a touchdown from him this game, and he still ends up with 25 points. If
He
he's
stole
getting
one
like a
from him last
75.
game, too.
Yeah,
Right.
he's getting a 75% snap share right now.
And
or
that's
above.
crucial.
That's
I-
insane.
My worry is that you might start seeing some Jaden Blue.
Yeah.
You know, Miles Sanders is dusted, but at the same time, they're going to use him. He's looked effective in games. I'm wait and see on Javonte. I'm not selling him high, but I'm not.
You
I'm
got to
not-
play him against Chicago this
Oh, of
week,
course
though.
you do. Of course you do.
got
And
to.
I think you continue to hold him. I don't think you sell him high right now because this could be that guy out of nowhere that finishes a top 10 RB.
Well, yeah, he's shaping up. If you drafted him in the 11th round, chances are you are at the top.
He
of
plays
your league
Chicago
right now.
this week, and then after that plays Green Bay. Maybe that's the spot. Maybe he goes off against Chicago. You know he's going to run into Green Bay and give you a stinker against that defense
Trade him right before the Green Bay
Right.
game. Javonte owner.
right before the Green Bay game.
There you go. There you go.
Watch
Well,
it out in the league. Send your requests.
moving on to a guy that was taken in the 2nd round of our league. Not our league, another league that I'm in.
How many leagues are you guys in?
I'm in 6.
Jeez.
I was in
5.
4. We added 2 this year with Woodward
Oh
and
my
Fantasy
God.
Jerks.
How do you guys have time for this?
Too many. I like 4. I prefer 3.
I've been at most 3. Most 3. At most.
What about you, Brendan? How many? 2?
I'm in 5 right now.
Attaboy!
Jesus.
I mean,
Attaboy, young
Way to go,
man.
Bomber.
There's a couple leagues that have been going on for 10 years, and you got to stick with those. And then new leagues like this come up. I'm not going to turn it down. I love
boy.
waiver.
You are a
waiver
huge
Tuesday
nerd.
gets a little bit, taxing. You got to go through a lot of waivers, but other than that,
So would
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
laughed at somebody taking Travis Etienne in the 2nd round of your draft?
yes.
Yes.
I took him in the 6th round, I think 5th round, and I never felt worse of walking away from a pick. There's some picks you don't feel good about.
Well, you're feeling pretty
Except-
good right now because a guy who was 38 last year, finished 38 RB, he's sitting at number 8 right now. Oh, and they traded his committee mate in Tank Bigsby, got sent over to Philly. So now you see Bashal Tootin come up, more of a speed specialist, a guy they'll use in the passing game. And LaKeint Allen, who saw 1 touch. I can't believe I'm saying it because I've never been an ETN guy, but this is a great guy to own this year, it looks like.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm glad I was able to get him. I'm feeling pretty good about him. JK, not so great about Swift, but we'll see how that goes.
Is there any worry on Bashal Tootin?
No, I could see that split staying the way it's at.
I think Bashal will continue to get a little bit more work, but I don't think that it's going to hurt ETN's value too much. Last one that's overperforming is J.K. Dobbins.
Boo.
Number 23 last year. lost a lot of games to injury. He's sitting at 11 right now, so not technically inside that top 10, but the top 10 is pretty consistent with what we saw last year. I'm not a believer in J.K. Dobbins. This guy cannot play a full season, Brandon.
Maybe this year's the year. I've loved him as a prospect. High speed, right size, great production in college. So
Great production in college.
I mean, it could be just one of those guys, maybe like Javonte, has to grow into his body, and then, like Saquon, gets in the latter parts of his career.
Trade J.K., guys. Trade him. I'm telling you.
Answer. I got a little RB question for you here from in the chat. Olivia Dottie says, as he's 0-2 in his league, would you trade Kyren? I mentioned Kyren Williams for Alvin Kamara, or Kyren for Chase Brown, or just keep Kyren?
It's a great question.
I'd be screaming Chase Brown if
yes.
Burrow injury didn't happen.
Yes. I honestly, though, when you look at what he did with Jake Browning 2 years ago, when he first started to get a little bit of play time, Jake Browning looked his way. I think, if anything, you're going to see more running out of the Bengals to protect Jake Browning. Kyren has a little bit of an issue right now with Blake Corum. And
Shout out.
Looked like he was going to be the number 3 back on that team with Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez ends up being the number 3. Corum could be taking away some of that goal line work. But I'll be honest, at this point, yes, I would have drafted Chase Brown ahead of Kyren Williams, so I would tell you to do that trade even with the Burrow injury.
Show 2. Let's
but I don't. I'm not.
Recap.
I'm not giving up on Kyren yet.
Okay, but let's recap the show 2. Some of the warning signs. Okay, ready? He had over 350 touches. I talked about it. Okay, they drafted Corum pretty early last year. Early 3rd round, right?
Too early, in my opinion.
No.
The breakaway run rate. The breakaway run rate in Kyren Williams is absolutely terrible. Like lowest of a starting running back.
Yeah,
Corum's not going to do that
I've seen
either.
a lot of different things analytically on Kyren Williams. I hear people tell me about how bad he is, and then I see analytics where he's like a top 6 guy for the last couple of years in terms of his analytics. I would not give up on Kyren Williams yet. That team, I think, will get better as Matt Stafford gets a little bit healthier, if that's possible. The guy is a gamer and will play hurt. But if he can get a little bit more into the groove, I think that offense will follow along suit.
I think the Rams are just fine.
Yeah, I think the Rams are fine, so I'm not giving up on
Kyren
Kyren
yet.
Best
But defenses in the league.
I'd take the Chase
Great
Brown
offense.
trade personally. Let's move over to the underperforming running backs. Got Josh Jacobs at number 13 right now. He was 5 last year. I'm not worried about this guy at all. He gets the rock, and that's what matters.
Yeah, opportunity counts. It'd be nice if they're a little healthier at the wide receiver position to take a little bit of heat off him.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft's helping. But Jacobs has reduced efficiency right now because they can stack the shit out of the box right now.
No doubt about it. And he's 1 year older, a lot of tread on those, or a lot of wear on those tires, should I say. Kyren is actually next on the list. Number 7, last year finished RB7. This year he sits at 21. So there's certainly some concern there. Chase Brown looked amazing week 1, didn't look good at all the next week. So the comparison of these two guys that are both early 3rd round picks in most drafts, I love the parallels between the two of them. I'm not cutting bait on either one, just to bring Chase into the conversation. Didn't finish as a top 10 running back last year. Otherwise, he probably would be here in this conversation. I have confidence in both still. You?
I drafted Chase in the league, and I'm not real happy about it right now.
You were week 1.
I was, but my issue kind of with Chase has always been that yards per carry. Never. I don't know. We'll see. He's not getting necessarily the targets that you'd hope for right now. Hopefully the Browning connection fires back up, and we'll see.
He needs the receptions with the state of that offensive line right now.
Yeah, he sure does.
Then James Conner finished 10 last year. He's at 17. I think this number continues to go down. Trey Benson looks like the guy that I've been telling you he is for the last year.
That was a dad mode, wasn't it?
It sure was.
It was.
Yeah.
It surely was.
Connor's going to be fine.
I would be moving on from Connor if I were you. Moving on to the wide receivers, though. QJ, who we did talk about a little bit already, 36 last year. He's number 7 this year. He's gotten into the end zone. He got a big play on Monday night, 60-yard touchdown. Had a couple other big ones in the first week, but he's getting a lot of targets, guys. So to me, it's not just that touchdown deodorant. He is getting work as the number 1 or 2 targeted wide receiver for Justin Herbert.
He looks good. Justin's looking his way. He's getting 7.5 targets a game. That team has to put up points in that division. Yeah, I think you ride it out, and where you got him feels like a league winner type. I just got him on waiver in the jerks. I took him over Franklin, just because I wanted a little bit of a variety on my team.
And I got Franklin this morning, or was that yesterday morning?
I don't know. I left him there.
Love it. Moving on, Zay Flowers finished 24 last year. He's sitting at 6 right now. The Baltimore offense looks pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, you called that one.
Yeah, and they're not really utilizing the tight ends right now. We saw a lot of Isaiah Likely in the beginning of last year. We saw a lot of Mandrews in the second half. I differ. I do think that as we get back to the second half of the season, you see Baltimore every year tries new things with that offense. They try and incorporate different people, whether it's Keaton Mitchell, whether it's a wide receiver or what have you. You saw Devontae Walker get 2 touchdowns over the weekend.
But
you know
how many catches he's got in his career?
3, and they're all touchdowns.
They're all touchdowns.
Yes, sir. So my thing with Mandrews is this has been a staple go-to target for Lamar in close games, in big games, in cold weather games. I think that Mandrews in the tight end game will be part of the passing game again. But that's not to say Zay Flowers is going anywhere. This guy really looks like a top 12, top 15, or a wide receiver 1 to me.
Well, there's room for both to happen. Obviously, Mark Andrews drafters would like him to get in the end zone real soon. Hopefully it's not Monday.
All right, I got one, Wandale Robinson, a guy that I loved coming out of college, guy that can run pretty much every route out there, undersized, but he's never really had a quarterback that chose to get it to him. And we look at Russell Wilson, who was excited to go to New York, excited to play with Malik Neighbors, but he's also got a guy out there in Wandale Robinson who right now is sitting at number 9 overall in fantasy leagues, a guy that finished 43 overall last year. Are you buying the hype on this kid?
No.
No, I'm not either. A lot of targets, though. Where are you at with Wandale, Brendan?
I'm not buying the hype on this. I mean, we've seen the same thing last year. He had probably the least production off of the most targets last year out of any player.
Oh, yeah, yards per route run is just terrible.
Yeah.
So he had some explosive plays this last week that we'll see, but typically he's the close in a PPR.
If you're tough
a
spot
wide
at
receiver
flex,
3
maybe,
for me.
but yeah.
Yeah, Wandale is intriguing to me just out of the fact that we saw Neighbors get dinged up last year and miss some games. Russ clearly can move the football for that offense, and he likes Wandale. He's absolutely targeting him. I'm not pursuing him.
He can clearly move the ball against Dallas in that offense.
But I'm not prioritizing him over Troy Franklin or even QJ. But if he's sitting there and you're in a deep league, maybe take a chance on him, because we have never seen anybody actually target Wandale.
Is that a Phil Collins song?
I'm not sure,
You're
buddy.
in too deep.
I'm not sure. You know better on those. But we do have our guest, Ryan Heath, on the line. We will get back to the wide receivers and tight ends. But first, we're going to shoot over to one of the absolute skyrocketing fantasy experts out there. Over 40,000 followers on your Twitter, man. You've been crushing it. When I was told we were working with you today, I've been following you already for some time. So welcome to Fantasy Jerks, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, I really appreciate that, guys. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
What hoodie are you wearing there? Saint what?
This is St. Anselm, so you've probably never heard of it. It's a tiny little college I went to in New England. I'm from New Hampshire.
I thought it said St. Anson. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty excited about it. But we hear you are the usage guy, that you understand how each team is going to be using all of their offensive weapons. And what we want to get into right now is what you saw out of our Detroit Lions, because we didn't have much to talk about after week 1. After week 2, we got reacquainted with the offense we've come to know and love over the last few years.
We sure did.
We sure did. 52 points, an absolute whitewashing of the Chicago Bears. And for me right now, I'm just kind of curious, as are a lot of people in fantasy and plenty of our Detroit viewers, what is changing in the usage, not only in the running back room, but also the wide receiver room? And then go ahead and touch on the tight ends while you're there.
Yeah, honestly, probably the biggest change is in Sam Laporta's usage, arguably, this year of anybody on the Lions. So last year, only 25% or so of his routes were out of the slot. This year, that's up to 50%. Wow. And what that does is it lets a tight end just stay on the field more. Just the number of routes a tight end runs is even more important than like for wide receivers in fantasy, just because so many of them kind of come off the field like on obvious running downs or whatever it is if they're not total blockers. But for Laporta, if you get him in the slot, if he can be playing in lots of different formations, that just increases his routes, increases his fantasy utility, and slot routes are also always very valuable. So yeah, Laporta's almost up to 80% route participation this year, which is much better than last year. Wow. He just looks like he's going to be a much more consistent fantasy tight end one this year. Last year, it seemed like he was kind of playing through some injuries at parts of the season, but yeah, I'm very confident in Laporta as like a top 5, top 6 tight end.
And now, how much do you think that JMO, their emphasis on getting him the ball last year, hurt Laporta versus the uprising of one Isaac Tesla that kind of fills a similar role as a receiver downfield, a big target the way that Laporta does? Feels like last year was JMO taken away from Laporta, and it seems like this year it's Isaac who's going to take away from him. But you still like him for a top 5 finish.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's very hard to like expect a ton of volume out of Tesla. I mean, I love what I've seen from him so far. A couple of the coolest catches in the NFL through 2 weeks. Don't get me wrong.
In by a left cheek.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. To me, he's not a huge like consideration in terms of how I look at anyone else in this Lions room. The biggest thing, I guess, mainly is after week 1, we were like, okay, this looks very different. Like they're only throwing like 40% of their passes to wide receivers. It was just Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta show. But especially in hindsight now, I think we're going to see basically the same offense, maybe minus with Laporta being a little more involved than JMO last year, just because that Packers defense funnels everything so much underneath, and it was just constant, like targets to Jahmyr Gibbs, targets to Laporta. It was pretty much back to normal in terms of target share to wide receivers versus tight ends versus running backs in week 2 for the Lions. So I think we largely see that continue. I don't know. I am more curious with you guys just in terms of Jameson Williams, since you bring him up. He's a guy that kind of in the industry this offseason, everybody was very bullish on the idea of he is going to see more targets in this offense. Obviously, everything we heard out of camp was very positive that he was going to be more involved. People were predicting that he would overtake Amon-Ra St. Brown in target share. Like there were some crazy predictions out there. I mean, 4.5 targets per game through the first 2 games. He has the same first read target share as Jahmyr Gibbs, which is kind of funny. Running backs don't usually get first reads. So yeah, I don't know. Like it looks to me like he's still this same like big play guy that is going to be very efficient on kind of lower volume. But I don't know. Are you guys seeing or thinking just from the team perspective, like is he going to be a guy that's going to get like 25%, 30% of the targets, like challenge Amon-Ra at all?
I didn't draft JMO anywhere. I had a real usage problem with JMO, and I didn't see it coming. There's too much competition for target, as Matt Kelly says. Don't say too many mouths to feed. But the bottom line with that with JMO is he's that deep threat. I think he's still going to get over 1,000 yards. I still think he could get 8 touchdowns. And he's probably a better football asset than he is a fantasy football asset. And in non-PPR, I like him better than I like him in PPR. But the other Lions competition touches are they eat him.
They're just too real. They're too real.
And I think he's just more effective when you don't know when they're going to give him the ball.
Yeah, he's a feast or famine guy for me. And those 6 games of famine are just too much for me to go out and
He's a
draft him
basketball-
to
yeah.
draft him at the price that he had. But I got to say, there's a lot of people, not just in the fantasy circles, Ryan, but a lot of people here in Detroit that felt that Jamo is going to overtake Amon-Ra this year. And I thought that was absolute cap. I don't think that he's ever going to, as long as those two guys are wearing Honolulu blue. Where are you at with that, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I mean, I fully agree. Like, I kind of saw the same thing in the fantasy industry. Like, we eventually just get tired of guys that are commanding like 28, 30% target shares year after year after year and just finishing as wide receiver ones every single year. That's what Amon-Ra has done his entire career. And I think it's just a boredom thing that people are like, wow, I really want something to change. But one of the most sticky things from season to season is the share of targets that a wide receiver commands. Like, targets are earned. It's not like a thing that coaches can just arbitrarily decide and say, we're going to give this guy more targets. Like, to some extent, obviously, but it is also, guys have an inherent ability to earn them, to get open, to get the volume. So yeah, I think Amon-Ra is just a perennial wide receiver one, is always going to be top dog there, and that's pretty much it. And people will get mad about that, but that's how it is.
It's a heliocentric offense.
Yeah. You love that term.
I do. I
You
didn't
do
make
love
it
that
up.
term. That's a Theo term,
Yeah,
right?
no, it comes from Fantasy Jerks.
There you go. Well, so for
Or
me,
Fantasy Points.
yeah, it comes from fantasypoints.com. Remember, guys, this is Ryan Heath, one of their experts over there. You can get a discount if you head on over to fantasypoints.com and put in that code Woodward. But I do want to get onto the running backs here. Last year, obviously, Monty was hurt before the playoffs. We get him back for that game against the Commies. And at that point, I think everybody wanted to see all kinds of Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's carried over to this year. People want to see less Monty. They want to see more Jahmyr Gibbs. I just don't think that that's in the DNA of what the coaches want for this team in order to make it through 17 games. I felt like they focused too hard on winning 15 games last year, and they didn't have anything left for the playoffs. So where are you at in the sharing of the ball in the Detroit backfield?
Yeah, I mean, I will cop to being one of those people that was like, well, new offensive coordinator here. What if John Morton just decides to give the ball a little bit more to the guy that was averaging like 150 yards from scrimmage at the end of last year when Montgomery was out? It kind of looked like that was going to happen in week one. Negative game script, a lot of targets for Gibbs. Through 2 weeks, it looks like it's pretty much the same. At Fantasy Points, we have this metric called just expected fantasy points, XFP, and we kind of use that to measure like how valuable every team's backfield is. Last year, the Lions would make us tear our hair out because they had the most valuable backfield from a volume perspective, just pure touches, targets, red zone looks, and what have you. But it was split literally perfectly 50-50 between Gibbs and Montgomery. And that's kind of what it looks like so far this year. It's Gibbs at 53% of the XFP in the backfield. And yeah, I think it's going to be basically the same. You always see Gibbs be extremely efficient and kind of outperform that, whereas Montgomery will be right around or just above, depending on how many touchdowns the offense is scoring. I think we're kind of where we were with them. Yeah.
Yeah. But with Montgomery, it's, these two are so good for each other from a real football perspective.
And from a personal perspective, they're best friends off the field.
Right. And David Montgomery, like, the other day, looked amazing. Like, shot out of a cannon, breaking your face, David Montgomery again. And that is it's just such a fantastic 1-2 punch. And why would you go away from it?
You only would if you're a fantasy owner. That's only
right. But they both can eat.
No doubt. I want to switch gears here. I found something of yours a while back, and you continue to press this point. You have that graph from the tweet from Ryan.
Yep.
And, the zero quarterback thing got real sexy in fantasy football.
The fantasy football draft this weekend, that top 5 biggest takeaway one?
I'm not sure. The tweet from Ryan Heath.
Oh, okay. Is this
there
one?
There it is. But so Ryan, can you talk to the people and let them know running backs win fantasy championships? Why is there this push for for zero RB and quarterbacks, when you look at this statistic that you put out there, that you're winning championships by drafting running backs early. This stuff that you've been putting out for about a year now really got my attention. It's one of the reasons I followed you a while back. Can you speak to this chart that you have up here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you said, running backs do win championships. I would say until like 2 or 3 years ago, they were inarguably just the most important position in fantasy, full stop. I think now there's at least an argument with wide receivers, just with how successful we've seen some of those round 1 and 2 receivers be over the past handful of years. But like to your point, the zero RB idea cannot ever be that you're going to draft a bunch of running backs late and those are going to be the guys that win you your league. Like if you're going zero RB, you are saying I am just giving up on my largest chance to get a league winning running back in favor of doing it with wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks. It has to be a year where you think all of those positions are going to have very valuable players early. That was not this year to me at all. We'll see how that goes. But Brock Bowers and George Kittle's injuries probably helping me there a little bit. But yeah, really it is just that it's extremely hard to replace what you get out of an early round running back that can be putting up over 20 fantasy points per game. We only have a handful of those every season. They create like a outsized number of the playoff teams in fantasy leagues, in actual leagues. So yeah, that's really all it is.
Yeah, but something else though with that is kind of adding to the difficulty of doing zero RB is you have to be right. And with zero RB, it's not zero RB. You're just not drafting running back early. You're targeting often later, but there's an opportunity cost for that with breakout running backs, breakout tight ends as well. And like knowing who to target. I mean, obviously if you grab, if you went hero RB and grabbed Bucky last year, like my friend Dave Height,
I think you go
like,
both.
You'd be fantastic.
I think you go heavy early, then you get your positional players to fill in, and then you go heavy around 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you get those breakout type guys. But honestly, when you showed this in a graph form, Ryan, it really hit home that I was right, the things that I've been saying to people for so many years. And of course, there's the opportunity cost. There's having to be right, but you have to be right with quarterbacks. You have the opportunity cost with wide receivers and tight ends too. I would much rather end up with 8 running backs than try and win it by dodging them through the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah, no, fully agreed. And I think you're kind of hitting on like the biggest counter argument to zero RB, which is, yeah, you can draft all of these kind of later potential breakout running backs, even if you draft a couple of them early as well. That's like, depending on league settings, you're usually going to be able to flex at least one of them. Like it just increases the strength of your team to do that. Like, yeah, I don't know. There are certain years where zero RB is more appealing than others. I didn't think it was that appealing this year, even though there's lots of like kind of later, younger rookie breakout running backs that I have my eye on and that I'm excited for. Bashal Tutin, Cam Scatabo is already taking over the Giants backfield. Like there are gonna be zero RB hits for sure this year. But overall, as a strategy, like you really need some insane. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. Man, Miami looks bad. Hey, Ryan, one more question. We know you got to get out of here, and thanks for coming on. But I want to ask you one big prediction for the rest of the season. Somebody we're not eyeing. Somebody that's not incredibly obvious. Somebody that you're all in on. That we should be grabbing right now. That all the joiks watching and listening to Ryan Heath can follow up with.
Somebody out of nowhere, somebody that you're tracking that you think week 8, week 12, somebody's going to turn your fantasy team around.
All right, yeah, I'll go with Alec Iomanor, wide receiver on the Titans. So through 2 games,
but we've been telling him about that. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's reinforce what we've been saying. Do it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, through 2 games, he has close to 30% of the Titans' receiving yards. That is not that far off of Puka Nacua. It is way above basically every other day 3 wide receiver that's come out over the last several years. Over at Fantasy Points, he was our scouting guru, Brett Whitefield's wide receiver 3 pre-draft in the class, just based off the film study. The guy's really, really good. He had a 6 sideline catch, like one-handed in week 2. You just need Cam Ward to get better, basically. I think he can alpha Calvin Ridley at some point this year. So, yeah, he's one of the guys that I would love to have stashed on any bench right now.
Had a little mini breakout last week on.
Some names that we've talked about a few times and some names that the Fantasy Point experts keep bringing back to us. We appreciate you. Ryan Heath, you can find him on Twitter at RyanJ_Heath. And, of course, you can find him and his articles over at fantasypoints.com. It was great to have you on. We look forward to talking to you again, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Would love to do it again.
Sounds good, pal.
Thanks for joining, Ryan.
All right, guys, let's crush some of these wide receivers here. We talked about the ones that are overperforming. We're going to go back. I got 3 that are underperforming right now. First one, Justin Jefferson, number 3 last year. Then Brian Thomas Jr., number 4 last year. Then Drake London, number 5 last year. Jefferson, 28. BTJ, 48. Drake London, 54. Of course, small sample size for only 2 weeks. But out of these 3 guys, who are you most worried about, gentlemen?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm most worried about Drake.
Same here.
And it's primarily because the record of performance. I mean, okay, so Brian Thomas was a rookie, but he's still getting the looks. Drake's still getting the looks, but Brian Thomas Jr., BTJ wins through athleticism. Drake isn't athletic. And he's large, but he's not athletic. He's not fast. So I think that's what scares me a little bit. Honestly, I think all 3 of them are going to be fine, and perhaps this week all 3 could smash. Justin Jefferson, I think with Carson Wentz,
could be interesting.
I think that if I'm in some quarterback trouble this week, there's 2 guys. There's a lot of guys out there I'm thinking about picking up right now. You know,
well, we already did quarterbacks.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
because
we
we didn't talk Wentz and we didn't talk Rattler.
Okay, well,
quarterback 16.
Yeah, I would
last
tell you
week.
guys to stay away from both of them if you're desperate, especially if Danny
Same.
Dimes is out there.
Okay. What about Mac Jones?
Mac Jones
He's
probably
going to
won't
play
be-
for 2 weeks.
He probably won't be playing this
Yeah, but
week.
if you need him for 2 weeks because Fields is hurt.
So
or
let's
something, I don't know.
stick on the conversation at hand here. BTJ, a guy that really struggled with T-Law last year. When Mac Jones was in, he feasted. The one thing that I do like about him right now is he's got 19 targets through the first 2 games, but the wrist injury seemed like, some guys are saying that he was alligator arming, passes and seemed disinterested. To me, it looked like he was a little bit unhealthy. And when we find out after the game that his wrist is bothering him, you obviously bring in a guy, Travis Hunter, who's going to take some catches away. Parker Washington, all of a sudden, looking like he is going to be a part of that offense.
25% target share, 4 targets, 4 catches for Parker Washington. I think one of the guys to be targeting there is Diami Brown. He's the one getting the snaps.
Diami has been getting a bunch too.
80% snap share. Travis Hunter is only getting less than 60% target share. He's played a lot more cornerback last week.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was not targeting Travis Hunter in regular fantasy leagues because I 2-position player.
Are you worried about one of these 3 guys? You said Drake London. For me, out of these 3, it's easily Drake London. I wasn't high on him coming out of USC. I never felt like he had the quarterback to get it done. I thought it was going to be Cousins last year. Penix showed an interest in throwing it not only his way, but also the forgotten Kyle Pitts. But thus far, through 2 games, he's been pretty non-existent for the Falcons.
I mean, Penix threw for 135 yards in this game.
But they
and
dominated.
They won.
Yeah,
That's the thing is,
they're gonna
have
run
you
it down their
seen this
throat.
guy named Bijan Robinson out on the field? He's clearly showing that he could put up maybe a Christian McCaffrey-esque year with what he's doing in the pass game, the run game. You watch that game, it feels like every single play is going to this guy. And if it's not, it's Tyler Algier.
Yeah,
This is
76
clearly what
yards
they
on
wanna do.
16. Yeah.
They want to make the game ugly. They want to ground and pound. I don't think that Drake London is in their game plan for another
and
huge
minimize the mistakes by a young quarterback. So, yeah, I think that Drake London has the biggest shot at not finishing as a top 10 wide receiver.
Atlanta looks good.
They look solid. I don't think they're going to get past Tampa Bay, but that remains to be seen. Now on to the tight ends. Tucker Kraft's in there at number 1. We loved him, but it's Juwan Johnson, Ferguson, and Dalton Kincaid. Jake Ferguson out of Dallas. These guys finished 17, 27, and 30 last year. Now Juwan Johnson really seems like it's either him or Chris Olave as the number 1 target in the passing game for Spencer Rattler in New Orleans. Then you obviously have Ferguson, who getting a ton of looks from Dak. And we saw that before Dak got injured last year. And then Dalton Kincaid, a guy that I drafted overdrafted last year. I had nothing to do with him this year. But it looks like he is going to continue to be the guy that we saw as a rookie, a big part of the Buffalo Bills offense. Who are you most excited about, gentlemen? Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, or Dalton Kincaid?
I'm most excited about Juwan Johnson.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because I mean he's a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, old former basketball player, you know.
Yeah, and when he's been healthy, he's performed. When he gets targets, he's very efficient, and he looks like the number 1 target on the team. And coach wants Rattler to target him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a little surprised. Like, New Orleans doesn't look terrible.
Hey, they didn't look terrible a couple years ago when they started 2-0, and then did they win a game after that?
Yeah, but they
I don't
lost.
remember.
They lost Carr. Like, I don't know. It just feels
I just
different.
can't touch anyone on that team except for Alvin Kamara.
And how is that guy still alive?
It's so gross.
That's the Tennessee player that's doing well in the NFL.
There you go.
Anson and I were like wondering. We were talking about Hendon Hooker earlier, and we are like, what Tennessee football player is doing well in the NFL? We couldn't come up with one. Alvin Kamara. There we go. We figured it out.
He's been pretty damn good for
Just
a
an
decade
all-time
now.
PPR great.
No doubt. So where are you at? You like Juwan as well? Or are you staying away
I
from
like
Saints?
Ferguson. I'm staying away from the Saints. I can't do it. I mean, I'm staring out there on Juwan on all my waivers. I put a bid on him, but I know it's not enough to win because I just can't touch anybody on this Saints team except for Kamara. I don't believe in Rattler. I don't believe in the squad. And I don't want to watch these games hoping for a Saint to. I mean, I expect him to score maybe one touchdown a game.
Take the garbage time.
Just watch the stats tick in the box score.
I'm all in. Not all in, but out of this group, I would take Ferguson. I think Dak. We've seen what Dak could do time and time again, and he's showing us again. Like when I told you about George Pickens to buy him, and we'll get to that later.
But here's the thing, and we talked about it. In order to be a top 3 tight end, a top 6 tight end, you have to be the number. You brought it up, Brennan, didn't you? You have to be what?
Number 1 option on offense. You got me there.
Number 1 or 2 is what
Right.
Brennan, to quote Brendan Bomarito, and to use your words against you, Juwan Johnson is the number 1 or 2 on that team.
He is. It's just a gross team to be the
It's a
number
gross
1
team.
But sometimes you gotta
Gross
be
teams
gross.
making
You gotta
fantasy
get nasty.
points.
Yeah, and there's some tight ends looking real gross this year, guys that finished in the top 10. Jonnu Smith, number 4 last year. His new teammate, Freiermuth, both in Pittsburgh now. He finished number 9 overall. I think both of those guys absolutely stamp out each other's value. I don't think that can't touch either one or start either one. I think both of those guys easily fall out of the top 10. Jonnu at 13 right now, Freiermuth at 24. But is Mark Andrews, a.k.a. Mandrews, is he washed? Because he's sitting at number 56 last year after finishing number 6 overall.
It's possible. Where's Hawkinson? Is he washed? McBride. I think these guys are going to be fine.
I think
Not Freiermuth and Jonnu because they're competing for targets. I think
that Mandrews will be okay as well. And we talked earlier. I think
and
that
where you got him, you drafted him as tight end 7. I still think that tight end 7 is probably.
You guys have
about where
no
he's gonna
worry of
finish.
Isaiah Likely. I mean, I think this guy on the field is a game changer out there for them, and he's been bred to take over for Mark Andrews at some point. When is that some point going to be?
they're very different.
Really?
They're
We'll come
very
back to
different players. And I do think that Likely is a great talent, but he's
a fine talent.
But he has an injury that is keeping him off the field, so it's going to take him a while to get integrated. But what you saw out of Mandrews last year was he missed the whole preseason after he got in the car accident. Took him a while to get, up to speed, and then you just saw 6, 7 straight games with a touchdown where Lamar just looks for this guy in big games, especially as the season goes on. Now, am I trying to go out and acquire managers right now? I'm not sure about that, but I don't think I'm cutting bait yet right now.
It's boring.
It is boring. How many more weeks can you wait for this guy to wake up? And if Isaiah Likely comes back and he hasn't woken up yet, is it time to cut?
I don't care.
You don't care. Well, we got some people in the chat that care. They want to know about some start-sit questions. Biggins, start-sit, Omarion Hampton versus Kinshawn Judkins. Hampton fumbled on the Monday Night Football. Judkins unofficially listed as RB1 and got the touches as RB1 in week 2. Versus the Packers this weekend. Should have the gears oiled by now. Hampton really scares me. He fumbled at a very crucial point of the game. And after that, considering the fact that he hasn't gotten the touches that we had all had hoped, Najee Harris got a lot of touches in that game, especially after the fumble, and even more so in the passing game.
Hampton is Hamptoning, just not right now.
Yes.
He's same with Genty.
So who are you starting now? Kinshawn or Hampton?
I'm going Hampton.
Hampton.
Yep. Because you got to think about the matchup, too. This Green Bay team, I mean,
That's
for what we've
gonna
seen
be my
already,
point.
this Green Bay team could be the best defense in the league. It could be the best defense that we've seen the past couple of years. Just from the small sample size we've seen, that's all we know. And right now, I'm afraid to start anybody at any position against that defense.
Probably not.
That's a good point, Brendan.
Probably a very smart idea. Biggins, you drafted Omarion to start. You dance with the girl you brought, right? Cup, Franklin or Shakir, asks Alex Flores at Flex. I'm going Franklin on that one. Cup's not getting the targets. Shakir is an absolute feast or famine guy. He has to get in the end zone. Otherwise, his 5 catches for 49 yards or 54 yards just aren't going to do a whole lot for you. We talked about it last week.
But Franklin against Chargers.
Why would you start someone else over Franklin? I think you spent enough fab on Franklin this week that you got to give him a run. But who would you pick? Cup or...
I mean, what Cup looked pretty good last week, didn't he? Like 8 for 9 and touchdown, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know. And they're playing New Orleans. They're playing New Orleans. Seattle's playing New Orleans. Yeah, that might be a lower scoring game. This is a tough call. Cost a toin on this one. Sorry,
you got to make a take here. Make a take.
Nah.
You jerk.
No. I'm not going to give you a take.
We're coming back with the receipts next week, Brandon. So you got to make a take.
My take is that they're all equal plays.
Okay, there you go. You heard it from Brandon Kaz. Nitty Gritty says, Anson, I'm just here to support the channel. I haven't played fantasy since the days of dial-up internet. Well, Nitty, we see you throughout all the shows all day long, week on and week out. We appreciate your support. KB asks, should I trade Kenneth Walker for Najee and Omarion? I have Brees and Chase Brown. That's an interesting one. I have divested from K9 in Dynasty Leagues. The guy has a hard time playing 17 weeks. As much as I love my Spartan, I do believe that Hampton is going to be Hamptoning, as my partner said.
I agree.
And I think that Omarion Hampton is a guy who just might be winning you playoff games
There's
at the
a
end of the
song
season.
by Tame Impala. It's called Let It Hampton.
Well, while you're saying that, Biggins points out that Brandon outs himself as an American Psycho fan, knowing In Too Deep by Phil Collins.
That's right. One of the greatest movies ever made.
Biggins with some serious smack talk in the group chat this week, and appreciate you guys for understanding that is who Biggins is. Let's get into the schedule coming up here.
What did Patrick Bateman do for a living?
I have one more start.
Oh, mergers and acquisitions.
Okay, let's hit us with it.
Because Kevin Jeffrey says in the chat, Odunze or Jackson Smith and Jigba in PPR. I think that this is a very tough decision for me. What do you guys think first?
What do you mean or? Both.
Well, I mean, if I have to choose
Maybe
one,
he's got a
I'm
stacked
going
roster. Maybe he's a
JSN
man.
just because I don't know who Caleb is throwing it to each week. I said it the last few weeks. I think that Rome is going to be the number one in that offense. I just don't believe in the catfish. And I know that he can get in the end zone with his feet, and I know that he can scrape up some garbage time stats to be able to put up a 20 for your dynasty or for your fantasy team. But at the end of it, there's a lot of targets to feed over there. Sure does seem like Rome is the number one, but there is no question who's getting the ball in Seattle week in, week out, and that is JSN. That's my answer.
Hey, Biggins, I'm sorry about the mistake. In Too Deep is a Genesis song.
Oh, it's still Phil Collins, bro. Dante 151 with
Shout out.
Super chat.
with the super chat, one of our longtime legendary supporters. Don't mind me. I'm shooting Burrow out of a cannon because he can't stay healthy at all, so don't let me down. Baker Mayfield. Dante is bringing up the rear in the Fantasy Jerks League.
With Dad's alibi.
Yeah, we're still
gotta
settling
win, though.
on a punishment, so I'm really hoping that won't be Dante because we have a lot of love for him here. Anybody else with start sit questions?
I don't see any.
Okay, well, we will move on here. We're going to take a look at the match.
I got a punishment. What if, like, the punishment is something like next year you have to draft the player that was the worst on your team, like your worst call?
No. I got one better.
Okay. All right.
The loser has to buy
Losers.
the jersey of their worst pick.
Ooh, that's good.
Like,
No, they just have to
like
buy.
a Dalvin Cook Jets jersey.
No, they just have to buy a Caleb Williams jersey. That should be the punishment.
Oh, man.
See, that's brutal. See,
That's
exactly.
really brutal.
You can buy
Exactly.
the jersey of the guy who won the championship in that league too. That's gonna be crazy. Maybe I'll purchase it for him after he wins me the fantasy championship this
You know,
year.
I got to be honest. I never really want to be the best team through the first few weeks.
Oh, that's not what he was saying last week.
Oh, I mean, I was up there. I don't mind it. I'm 1-1 now, and we will talk about the Fantasy Jerks standings and who is up there in points. The Bomber and I are very, very close in points, but he has one more win than I do. But we're going to get into the matchups. We're going to go through them pretty briskly, but we want you guys to have a feel for what happened last week and what you can expect this week. So we will start it off with the Monday night matchup. Our very own Detroit Lions up against a team that they just cannot seem to beat. You go back to that near win. You guys saw Stick and I brokenhearted over the 66-yard record-breaking field goal from one Justin Tucker.
That's such a long time
Oh,
ago.
man, I was at that game.
I personally believe that the Lions will be winning this game. And after what I saw last week against the Chicago Catfish Bears, I believe that this is the week we finally beat them. I believe that it's very, very high scoring both sides of the ball. And I would have a hard time sitting any Detroit Lion in this matchup or Baltimore Raven. Do you think, guys, that this Detroit defense that we saw in week 2 has a chance of slowing anybody down on that team like Lamar or Zay to the point where you don't want to start him? I mean, Derrick Henry shouldn't even have been in lineups. He was so bad last week, right?
We did pretty well last week of running a little bit of contain on Caleb Williams. I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson is
He's a
Caleb
whole
Williams.
different beast.
No, they are different.
I understand. The Detroit Lions are notoriously terrible at lane discipline and keeping rushing quarterbacks in front of them. We shall see. That being said, I could see this defense forcing a timely turnover.
Is there anybody on either team that you would normally start that you're sitting because of this game?
No.
Me neither.
This is fire up your Ravens and Lions week. I think
100%.
that
Take the over.
I think
Yeah.
that like this team, this game could likely hit 80 points. You could see this game.
Yeah.
You could see this being 42 to 37. Like it could be near 80 points. I wouldn't be surprised. The Lions put up 52 last weekend.
Yeah.
I think this game is going to be really similar to. I hope the injuries aren't the same, but I see this really similar to the Bills and Lions game a year ago. I think the Ravens in this case are the Bills, and they're going to win this game. Ooh, what was it, like two touchdowns, 17 points, something like that? I just think the Ravens are going to do too much. I don't trust our pass rush. I don't trust us to contain.
Are you sitting anybody?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh
We're not all
no.
day during our 4 regular shows to talk about
No,
the
to
Lions
answer
and
your
whether they're
question,
gonna win
no,
or
I'm not sitting anyone.
We're talking fantasy, guys, and right now for me, Detroit, Baltimore, fire everybody up. Next on
41 37 Detroit Lions.
There you go. There's Kaz's prediction. Arizona heads
And a
to
lot-
San
and a-
Francisco to face off against the 49ers. Arizona last week, again, I don't feel great about this team. San Francisco is somehow 2-0, but they looked pretty good with Mac Jones. Does Mac Jones or Brock Purdy change anything for you who you'd be starting for San Francisco?
No, I think that Juwan Jennings is healthy now. He's
Yep,
back.
looked great last week.
Pearsall's there. Tongas looked okay.
Yep.
McCaffrey's trudging along, low yard per carry, but the defense is carrying that team, and Mac Jones looks fine. Mac Jones is going to be starting for another NFL team week 1 next year.
This is, I would start. I'd still start with the 49ers. Anyone, because Kyle Shanahan does a good job of just kind of like treading the water with the quarterbacks for like 2-3 weeks when they're like a backup. So I think it's still fine. It's after the
2-3 years with Purdy.
It's after the 3rd week where it's like, all right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But Shanahan does a good job in the first couple weeks with a new QB. So yes, I would start him. 49ers, that is.
You afraid of anybody on the 49ers with one quarterback or the other, or you have full faith in both QBs, Brendan?
No, I do not have faith in Mac Jones. I think obviously you got McCaffrey firing up in your lineup, but I think that there's nobody with enough talent on this 49ers receiving core to really separate themselves now that Kittle's gone, Ayuk's down, all that stuff. It's tough because those NFC West matchups can be rock fights, but they could also just be shootouts. So I would still.
And the game is at home.
Right.
Are you since it's in San Francisco, go on the other side of it? Are you sitting John Connor?
I can't draft. I can't sit Connor in the league I'm in. The league I have him.
But I mean, in general, does James
option,
Conner scare you right now?
If I have another option, I have to start him over dad mode James Conner.
Okay.
I was expecting more out of Arizona this year. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was not. I think Trey Benson's coming for that job. I would stay away from James Conner in your lineup if you have the opportunity with somebody else behind him.
Why was I expecting more from Arizona? I'm dumb. I was dumb.
Kyler Murray,
You weren't
I think
on
we've
that
seen
Carolina
enough
train too, were you? I hope. But no, for me, San Francisco, I think I would be firing up Juwan
Carolina
Jennings.
almost won that game last week. That second, they started to come together.
Juwan Jennings has a great rapport with Mac Jones through one game. I would get him fired up, especially with Kittle out. Pearsall scares me a little bit. I think C-Mac, you got to get back in there. Christian McCaffrey looked like his old self in week 2. But yeah, I'd probably be staying away from everybody in this game except for Marvin Harrison and McCaffrey, maybe Juwan Jennings.
Well, McBride.
Oh
yeah,
sure.
I always forget they got him.
Every week.
Yeah.
Heading on to the Miami slaughter in Buffalo, because I believe that's what it
Everyone
will
on
be.
the Bills.
Yeah, everyone. Well, you know what? I got to take that back. I can't start those wide receivers. I don't trust the tight end. I don't trust the wide receivers. We talked about Keon Coleman, then he disappears. You know,
we were just talking about Kincaid, though.
Yeah, and he disappears. I don't have any faith in any offensive player on that team not named James Cook and Josh Allen.
Yeah, he won. James Cook, running back 1.
They're kind of like the Packers East. You know what I'm saying? Or is that East?
Very similar without the ability to.
Well, you
the
just
running ability at the
so many
quarterback
different
position.
wide receivers that not one truly presents themselves as the go-to number one. Maybe that'll be Golden down the line. Maybe it'll be Coleman down the line. But back-to-back weeks, you've seen them explode offensively, and there isn't one guy that you can point to outside of James Cook that he's going to get the ball. Nobody, right?
Shakir.
Would he put up 1.7 last week or something?
I just feel like he's the number one there.
That's what I thought too, but I got to say, man, Khalil Shakir in my lineup is very scary for me. What Bills are you firing up?
Obviously, you got Josh Allen and James Cook, but I'm still riding the wave on Keon Coleman. I really think there's something there.
Can't you just play everybody against Miami, though?
You can. I don't really love Shakir.
Play Keon. Play Kincaid.
I don't love Shakir. I don't love Kincaid. But
They're going to put up a lot of points, but I think that 3 or 4 of them are going to be on the ground, and they won't even be throwing the ball in the second half.
If they go big, why aren't they going to play Ray Davis? You know what I mean?
You will see some Ray Davis.
Right.
You'll probably see a lot of him in the second half.
If anything, I can expect a down week. I don't know.
Best ball, Ray Davis might be a play right there. But we differ a little bit on this one. I do think that they'll put up a lot of points. I just don't know who they're going to go to. And that's the same deal.
Just in, we did have a Tyreek Hill sighting.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to get to Miami, and I do think that Tyreek Hill, as long as Tua is standing upright, I believe that Tyreek will be fine. We saw Waddle was fine last week. How do you guys feel about those two in this game? Because for me, they're going to be throwing the ball and playing from behind all game. I see a lot of garbage stats for both of them.
I think you got to have Tyreek Hill in your lineup just from where you drafted him. I think that a lot of people love him. A lot of people feel gross about having him in their lineup. I tried to stay away from Miami as much as possible this year. If you could sit them, I mean, Waddle, if you could sit him, I think you should do it, but I don't think you can with where you drafted these receivers.
I think that this might be the week that Tua gets his last concussion.
It would be his last, it seems like.
Yeah, it just feels like this could be bad.
How many people slept on Devon Achane?
I didn't sleep on him. I stayed away from him.
Well, that would be sleeping on him because I did the same damn thing, and he's made me pay a couple years in a row now.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't get behind it, huh?
You just
Even
feel like
6,
an injury's
170
coming.
pounds.
But
Right.
even the injury is a concern. Obviously, he's gone down quite a few times, but his usage in the passing game.
Oh, it's
elite.
phenomenal.
Elite.
Yeah, I mean, he's set up. If he can somehow stay healthy, he's probably going to get near 100 catches. How many catches did they have last year? It's insane.
Yeah, this is a game where I'm firing up both running backs.
But Miami is not better for throwing the ball to Devon Achane. They're better for getting the ball deep to those two wide receivers.
Oh, sure.
Throwing
And I think
they
we'll
were
see a lot of
terrible
that.
with Jonnu getting 80 catches and with Achane having 80 catches last year. Like, throw the ball outside.
Yeah, and I mean, Tua is able to do that. We saw him utilize both those guys last week. But for me, if I have to be held to it, I don't think I'm going past Tyreek and the two running backs in this matchup. Obviously, fire up Josh Allen. Tua should be on your bench. Moving on to Carolina, Atlanta at Carolina. This is the matchup that we kind of talked about. We both think that, well, actually, no, that's Tampa Bay, excuse me. I think Carolina's trash. I thought this for quite some time. Everybody was calling for the Bryce Young year. I don't see it. Chuba Hubbard really seems like a legitimate piece there.
Yeah, running back 6 or something right now. I told you I don't want to talk about Chuba anymore. He's boring, as my daughters say.
He is.
But whatever. If he's on your team, you're happy about it, right? That being said, Bryce Young did look good in the second half last week. They almost came back, won that game.
That's the story about Carolina. They almost won.
And
Yeah,
that's
the
but
Bears-
Carolina-
the
but
Bears
in
are great
fantasy
at that,
football,
too.
It doesn't matter, right? If they score a lot of points, their defense is terrible. It's almost better for the
Who are you,
offense.
playing? Who are you
yes.
playing from Carolina not
Ted.
named Chuba?
Ted.
Absolutely.
McMillan has to be
Ted.
in your lineup.
Yeah.
And is there
Jatavian
anybody
Hunter
else?
Renfro had 2 touchdowns
You
last
about to
week.
say the name that I love right there.
Jatavian Sanders could be someone if you're in a
6
pinch
catches
at tight
last
end.
week,
If
56
you
yards.
had Kittle go down, if you had one of these tight ends that's not performing right, this guy looks, when he catches the ball, he's wearing number 0. You think, oh my God, who's that super fast big receiver out there? No, this is a tight end.
Didn't drop a
Moving
ball
like
as last year in
Right.
college either.
He looks very good out there, and I think that if the Panthers are able to keep having this bad defense putting up high points like this, that he could produce from that.
In PPR, if Renfro's out there, I think that, and you need help.
Renfro, this guy, can he
Yeah,
go away? Because I got
He
Ted
almost
McMillan
did go.
everywhere.
He almost did go away.
This guy, this Carolina, where they love these older slot receivers, is Adam Thielen
Yep.
and Hunter Renfro just come in and steal all these targets, all the red zone targets for this team. I don't understand it. How is Hunter Renfro out there getting more production than Ted McMillan? And it's early, so we'll see, but I just
Yeah.
think Ted McMillan needs
Touchdown
to
deodorant.
skyrocket.
I think, Hunter Renfro benefits from double teams, and he is a technician running routes, so he'll find himself
And he's
open.
going to benefit from the Canales offense running the slot.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so for me in that game, Atlanta, I'm staying away from pretty much everybody not named Bijan Robinson. I'm not, buying into the Tyler Algiers, whatever you want to call him.
Algier and Hunter Renfro can go
Yeah,
take a
I mean,
vacation.
those guys will
somewhere,
once a
please.
month they'll have a great game, but you can't bank on it.
Yeah,
So
you know when it's coming.
yeah, in that game, I'm looking at the running backs, and I'm looking at Tet. I'm trying to sit Drake London if I have.
You can't.
I know, but where you drafted him, you can't. But if you have the luxury of somebody
No,
you
I
got
think if
late,
there's any
Might be a
week, if there's a
matchup.
week that
Right.
Drake's going to break
Keenan
out, it's
Allen or
this
Drake
week.
London.
You have to look at, though, the
Drake
Panthers.
London.
J.C. Horn and Job on the Panthers, I believe, is their other cornerback. They have the best corner duo in the league right now if you look at analytics. So
Okay.
that's something you got to take into account.
Yeah,
even
no
though their
thanks
overall
on
offense-
Drake
overall
London.
offense-
Chicago, Las Vegas. This
Can't
is
have analytics without the word anal.
That's true. It was very true. Las Vegas hosting Chicago and the Catfish.
Ryan loved that one.
Romo Dunze, obviously, just ready to have his coming out party. This guy constantly is just right on the edge of being, hey, I am the man here. I thought we saw that in week 2. I think we will see more of that in Las Vegas. But the Las Vegas defense has improved.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust Caleb and where he's going to distribute the ball.
So Rome had a couple big drops at the end of the last game. He could have had an even a bigger day and some concentration lapses, it looked like. No new kind of like guys you're targeting in this game, right? Thornton still didn't do crap. Jacoby Myers, I still think he's your wide receiver 3, and you play him and you're fine. You know, I know I'm waiting for a Brock breakout here.
Please.
Yeah, please. We need that.
I hate that you guys are right for bringing up Michael Mayer on the show. I was like, why
He's
are we
stealing
ever
some
bringing up
targets.
this
It's a
guy's
new
name?
offensive
But
coordinator that is committed to using both tight ends. Michael Mayer was a fantastic, Notre Dame, right?
Notre
Yeah.
Dame, yeah.
Fantastic,
Second-round
fantastic tight end guy that came in and they just had a new regime that came in and drafted.
It was kind of
Brock
on the
Bowers.
wall when Pete Carroll came out and said flat out, we're not trading Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
Because people were calling him, they wanted to trade for him.
And then I think this last week, I think he had 8 or 9 targets. But last week in the first half, he just kind of seemed like a decoy out there.
San Diego's
barely
defense,
even
or
played that game, and they have a
Chargers
great
defense.
defense,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So
I
He
think
is maybe dealing with an injury too, Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
So things could be looking up, but he's another guy that I have everywhere. I'm really hoping for.
he's a guy that might have been drafted a little early for what
sure.
his production may end up being this year, but he's still a smash start. You got to have him in your lineup. I think that in Chicago, I think that I'd feel pretty confident having Rome in my lineup. Nobody else from Chicago whatsoever. Jacoby Myers, obviously, we don't have to say get Ashton Genty in your lineup because you should have him in there. But Jacoby Myers is a guy I just never believe in. Never believed him in New England. Never believed him with Vegas. And the guy continues to produce. Is that somebody you'd have in your lineup for that game?
yeah, where you drafted Jacoby Myers, most guys drafted him as their wide receiver 3 or 2. You have to play him, and he's paying some dividends.
And Geno Smith kind of seems to be looking out on the edges for his wide receivers a little more than he's been looking over the middle. So that does concern me with Brock Bowers, but got to have him in your lineup.
Protection was terrible the other night, man. Chargers look amazing.
The Burrowless Bengals head to Minnesota without just J.J. McCarthy as well. So both quarterbacks out in that matchup. We're going to get your boy from Cincinnati. I can't think of his damn
Browning.
name.
Browning.
Yeah, Jake Browning
Carson
up
Wentz.
against Carson Wentz.
Yeah, the battle of the backups.
The battle of the backups in that one. I know you like Jefferson in that game. I do think that they'll be able to get the ball to him. And he's still been quarterback proof the majority of his career.
Ready for it, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Go to your waiver wires. Cam Akers.
Xavier Scott, number 2 there, I believe, right?
Whatever.
I just
love Cam Akers. Somebody should have
They
picked
do.
him
They
up just to
continue-
trade him to Minnesota.
Yeah, they continue
Because
to.
they traded for him, 3 years in a row? They could have made it 4 or whatever.
I think it's 2 years in a row, but
Yeah.
they kept him this year, hit him on the practice squad. And
Jones is on injured reserve now. So Cam Akers gonna get you some fantasy points.
maybe. I
We've
wouldn't
seen
rush
what
out to
Jordan
that
Mason
one.
can do when his RB1 goes down, and it's some glorious thing. So I'd be looking forward to the same type of action that he had last year in San Francisco.
Yeah.
When is Addison back? Next week?
Next week.
Week 4?
Yep,
Yeah,
week 4.
3 weeks suspension. So that should open things up for them.
Cincinnati's 2-0. I think Browning keeps it going. The guy's had some starts in the past. I think you still got to fire up your Bengals. You still
Are
got
you
to.
starting Jake Browning?
I mean, it depends. No.
No.
Okay. So Chase Brown, Jamar, are you starting T. Higgins?
Yes.
Wow. Brave. You guys are brave. Yeah, Browning likes Higgins. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to keep Jamar Chase up where he was this week with him.
Owning
But-
T. Higgins is not for the lighthearted.
No.
No,
He
it's not.
is going to give you some rough times throughout the
Yeah,
whole
he
season.
is.
But
Kinda
he
like
just might
J-Mo.
score 40 points in your fantasy football championship and win you the league. So you got to stick with him.
He's an arrogant jerk over there, that
Yeah,
one.
I
I love that Spartan.
I agree.
I
I
hope-
agree on T.
I
Not
really-
that you're an
Meant to
arrogant
make me a
jerk. I think you're a
shout-out.
fantastic person.
And he's an arrogant fantasy jerk. But I'll be honest, if this dude wins this league, I'm not going to want to hear it. He sits right across me. I can look at him all day long, man. Yes, moving on from the Cincinnati-Minnesota game, Green Bay at Cleveland. Does anybody in Cleveland have a hope against this defense?
Who do you start at wide receiver for Green Bay? Because I figure like you have to play somebody this week. Is it Dobbs?
Dobbs
Probably.
is on waivers too, which is crazy. I picked him up this morning.
They don't like him.
Wide receiver 20 or something.
They
No,
tried to
don't.
trade him this offseason, and to me,
They benched him.
he is the poor
Suspended.
man's
Draft is your
Amon-Ra
answer.
of that team. You need a third down,
Oh,
you throw it
God,
to.
Anson.
I said the poor man's.
Very
Relax.
poor.
Very
The homeless
Relax,
man.
relax.
Yeah.
The fact is, when they
Anson.
need a third down conversion, they go to Dobbs. When they need a big play, they go to Dobbs. When they need a touchdown, they go to Dobbs.
I got your fantasy football punishment. If you end up like bottom of the league by the grace of God, you have to wear a Romeo Dobbs
Relax, bro.
jersey.
Listen,
Just
this
make him
guy-
wear a Caleb jersey.
All I'm
And a
trying to
cheese
say
hat.
is that this team, Green Bay, has been trying to rid themselves of their most consistent wide receiver for the last 2 or 3 years, and I just don't
most
understand.
available.
With Jaden Reed going down, does this shoot up production for anybody? I mean,
Well,
that's-
it's supposed to shoot up production not only for Dobbs but also the
Maybe
rookie
just
and
Tucker
Matthew
Kraft.
Golden. Well, and we saw Tucker Kraft being the direct
he looks
beneficiary
good.
of
God,
that.
he's a stud.
Good.
Yep.
That guy is about.
Remember what he did? Wasn't that against the Lions 2 Thanksgivings ago when he
Yes.
jumped over?
Yep.
Oh, man.
I told everybody, take him over Musgrave.
I did the same thing.
Because it was
I
to
took
me,
him
it was
that year.
Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews
couldn't
all
protect him.
over again.
Couldn't protect him. I should have known this year, and I didn't do it.
So in that Green Bay Cleveland game, Judkins is curious to me. He did
Judkins
show
sucks.
enough in his first game. I know you're not a fan, but he looked pretty damn dynamic in an NFL uniform, and that was his first action without being brought up to speed in the offseason, OTAs, preseason, or anything. So the tape doesn't lie. Kinshawn Judkins, to me, I'm going to wait another week. But if you're desperate and he's in your lineup, I don't hate it.
Against Green Bay?
I'm just saying, if
I
you're
honestly-
desperate,
You play Samson.
maybe. Samson took such a back seat this last week. I know that he got in the end zone, but
Still had 5 catches, didn't he?
nah, I just don't trust Samson in this role. I don't trust Kinshawn either. But if you are desperate and you have to
All right,
put
what
him in
about
your
Tillman?
no, I'm not starting anybody in that matchup from from Cleveland at all. I don't trust Judy. I don't trust Tillman.
Fannin?
Fannin and
Fannin maybe.
well, but Fannin and Njoku, both of these guys are just, it's kind of like the Jonnu and Freiermuth thing, you know? And the thing that I do like about Fannin is all the touches that he's getting, but he's not a big play threat yet. He's not an end zone threat yet. That will probably change, but there's still just too
Gabriel
much
getting some
Njoku.
chucks last week.
There's just too much Njoku there for me. So
I think this is a team of committees. They got a
It
committee at
is.
tight end, committee at running back, a receiver. They got a QB committee. They might have Shedeur Sanders running out there in a couple weeks. You don't know.
I'm going Josh
They got a
Jacobs.
committee at GM, too.
True.
Josh Jacobs and Tucker Kraft, the only ones that I'm
Their
playing.
owner thinks he's the GM.
Dallas at, not Chicago.
I mean, what did I do there?
I don't know what you
Dallas is Chicago. They play each other this week.
Well,
Yeah.
then who does the freaking Vegas plays? Come on.
This one's on you,
this
jerk.
one's on me.
All right, so we're just going to skip over that one to the Houston-Jacksonville matchup. Man, I don't know where I'm at with Jacksonville. Obviously, ETN needs to be in your lineups, but are you trusting BTJ this week?
Got a lot of fantasy points coming out of that team. Nearly 2-0.
Are you
I am
trusting BTJ this week?
I am not trusting him. I am playing him. I have faith. Like I have faith in the Lord. That is my boy, BTJ. I think we got a BTJ breakout coming.
He needs
Maybe
it.
not this week.
Do you
though.
have any concern with how? I mean, I love BTJ too. He got 12 targets. You have to just go where production is, and that'll usually lead you in the right direction. But this guy played like a wimp in last week's game. I mean, you could blame this loss solely on Brian Thomas Jr. There was multiple times in that game where he was alligator arming balls, shying away from. I mean, there was a hospital ball that Trevor Lawrence threw him on 4th down at the end of the game that he literally looked at the defender, moved away, and allowed Cincinnati to pick it off and win that game. I think just the way this guy's mental state is right now, wide receivers can be divas. He's going through
He's
it right
gotta
now.
And
be
he's getting
hurt.
a lot of crap from Twitter, from Jags fans. I'm really a little worried about him. I'm still playing him,
You had to play him.
even though I did trade
12
for him.
targets. That's all that
So,
matters.
so I got a question for you guys. I get to start 4, and I have 5. I have JJ, CD, Puka, DK, and I just traded for BTJ on Sunday. I can only start 4. Who are you
I
sitting?
mean, it's definitely between DK and BTJ.
And I'm sitting BTJ this week in that Dynasty League. Is that crazy?
No, I have a very similar rotation in my. I got Egbuka, Puka, DK, and BTJ as my forward with Diggs. And
You playing
DJ,
BTJ or Egbuka?
Why is
Well, I'm
DK
playing-
not
well,
in this
I-
question? Because DK might be a sit candidate out of those two things for me. I mean, seeing just his target share, he had a revenge game last week and didn't really fully take advantage of it. He had
Yeah,
2
but I think
drops,
Seattle's
2
defense might be
drops.
good. I think Seattle's defense might be good. We'll see. I mean, they
Interesting
got
one.
Tariq Woolen and they got freaking Witherspoon, right? Like they got some corners on that team. Seattle's a pretty interesting team. From
Pittsburgh will be in New England. We'll stick with that Houston-Jacks game real quick there. ETN, I'm firing up. BTJ, I'm firing up. I'm getting away from Brenton Strange.
Yeah, I think
It could
I'm the
happen.
same. I was
That
high
could
on.
materialize, but I don't think it's going to materialize to tight end 1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to cut Brenton Strange. I love him as a real football player, but he's just not getting any targets.
Would you guys be comfortable starting Trevor Lawrence after last week's outburst?
I am not. I don't think that this guy has what it takes. And
T-Law!
like you said, Brandon, his wide receiver options, Travis Hunter is not looking what he was supposed to as a number 2 overall pick to be a primary receiver. I don't think that he has the receiving options to help him because he obviously needs that help, and he hasn't shown that he could be an elite QB.
What do you have? 25 points though last week.
He had a big week.
Yeah, but that's
Parker,
it was
Parker
against
Washington, Diami
Cincinnati,
Brown,
too, and-
ETN.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do have a pretty terrible defense. I think that's a great point.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup this week against Houston, who's on the schneid.
Yeah.
I could see this game being Houston winning this game. And it being
Before we
ugly.
get to this next matchup, for the first time in Fantasy Jerks history, we will be reading a question from Woodward Sports' very own Easy in the chat. Would you trade Chuba Hubbard for Tet McMillan? Panther for Panther.
No.
Who's getting who?
I wouldn't give
He
up
has
Chuba
Chuba. He's getting
for Tet.
Tet.
Chuba, again, is boring. He's not sexy.
He's a
but
very
he
unsexy
is great in the run game, and
That's
he's
very
even
sexy.
better in the pass game at this point. He's kind of their offense. They're working in through Tet.
I think it depends on my build. I think it depends what I have, because to me they're a toying cost from a fantasy perspective, and I think that there's a lot of ceiling with Tet.
There's plenty of ceiling with Tet. There's not a whole lot of ceiling with Bryce is my issue. That's where I am with Bryce. I think that Chuba is just going to be a safe play every single week. I think that as Tet continues to get the amount of
play to
usage that he
win
has,
the game.
the amount of usage that Tet is going to be getting, teams are going to start game planning for him and scheming for him, and he's going to have to start overcoming, safety drop downs and even double teams. And I just see Chuba as that outlet. And they also, I think they want to protect Bryce by using the run game so he doesn't have to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. So for me, if it's me, keeping Chuba.
Okay.
What about you, Brendan?
I think that, Tet is just, like you said, this is the ugly versus the sexy here. This is the wife that you're going to take home. She's going to cook you dinner and clean, and she's respectable and everything. And then you got the could be
Tiny waist.
supermodel Tet
Arch
McMillan
back.
over here
Back
that,
dimples.
goes out on nights and is a little risky and might be cheating on you here and there. But
Only
I-
owns thongs.
I do think, like we mentioned earlier, running backs do win you leagues. You could find a lot more value at wide receiver elsewhere. I do think you stick with Chuba in this unless you can get maybe another little piece with Tet coming back. But I don't blame you for doing this
Yeah,
just because the potential of Tet.
Easy for me.
Good luck, Easy.
He talked about, we talked with Ryan, running backs win championships. You and I, we wholeheartedly agree on this. It is important to consolidate your talents. Turn two guys into one that is going to be an all-the-time starter. For me, I like where you're going with the Tet add in something, but instead, I'm not trying to get Tet from Carolina. I'm trying to get another receiver that I feel like is going to be in there, no problem, no worries whatsoever.
Right.
So to me, that's a tough one, but I'd still stick with Chuba.
Yeah, so you might be able to get him a little cheaper because if somebody's salty with Tet, like you maybe could get him for less than Chuba.
I think Ted has, if anything, performed exactly or above where you had hoped when you drafted him.
Sure.
I'm pretty pleased with my Ted ownership. I was worried about him, but so far so good. I don't know.
160 yards.
I'd go for a
10
higher end
touches.
wide receiver if that trade is available to you out there. As far as Houston, there's nobody really that I'm trying to start on that team aside from Nico Collins.
So
Nick Chubb, not in your
okay,
lineup?
so it depends on your build, but and depends on the league settings, but towards the end of that game, Nick Chubb looked a little healthier, and that offensive line started to come together. Like, I wouldn't be surprised that this was a big week for Nick Chubb. 2 touchdowns.
I would be very
80 yards.
surprised. I think Chubb is done. He burnt me a couple years ago, so
He is a little bit. Yeah.
on Chubby. Honestly, I thought that
A lot of people thought Javonte was done too, right? But I mean, Chubb's kind of starting to look. I mean,
Tampa
we'll see.
Bay let him have that touchdown so they could get the ball back and win the game.
Okay,
Did you see that play?
I did. I watched the game.
Yeah, they literally parted the Red Sea and let him right in. They had 2 minutes. Baker goes down, wins the game. If they grind that down, use up all of Tampa Bay's timeouts, they kick a field goal, go up by 1, and they've got, maybe 30 seconds to work?
Right.
So temper your expectations with Nick Chubb. That team just looks
Is
so
Kirk gonna
damn
be
lost
back?
right now. Who?
If Kirk's back, that team's different.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because then Stroud has his close slot receiver.
are we talking about Christian Kirk saving
We are
the-
talking
the
about
Houston
Christian Kirk.
Texans right now?
They're playing Jacksonville. Didn't Houston start 0-2 last year?
Well, we're
too?
not picking who's winning here. We're picking who we should be playing.
They're playing
guys.
Jacksonville, whose defense
Yep.
looks terrible. If there's any,
So you'd start Nick Chubb, is what you're saying?
if I as my flex or in over some other guys like Sampson, like depending on who your second running back is, I think
Chubb or Judkins?
Chubb all day.
Okay, you heard it from Brandon. Let's move on to the Indy
No, let's
at
get back there.
Tennessee game. No,
Judkins
brother, we
playing Green
don't
Bay.
have time, brother.
Okay,
Indy at Tennessee.
you don't have time.
Indy at Tennessee. We talked about Indiana Jones, and obviously Cam had his rookie homecoming first game in Tennessee spoiled last week. Tennessee doesn't look as lost as I thought they were going to be. We talked about Elik Iomanor, but Indy seems like they really have a lot of options for your fantasy team to be starting this Sunday.
Yeah, they do, but this also kind of feels like a trap.
Could be. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Where are you at with
I
that?
mean, I agree with what Brandon's saying. I think that this not is going to come fully crashing down at some point, but the way they're putting up these high point totals, I don't think is going to continue at the same rate. But, I mean, maybe this Broncos defense is just not what we put them out to be, but scoring that amount of points and winning against the Broncos in that fashion, this Colts team might just be a surprise for the whole season.
I think you fire up Pollard with confidence this week. You got to play JT, obviously. You got to play Pittman.
Tyler Warren is in your lineup.
Warren.
Tyler Warren
obviously.
absolutely has to be in there. Now, are you starting Indiana Jones, a.k.a. Danny Dimes?
It depends who your other quarterback is. Chances are if you have Danny Dimes, you have another quarterback. So it depends who my other quarterback is. If my other quarterback's one of the hurt guys, like Burrow or
Jordan Love or Danny Dimes?
JJ. Jeez. I'm starting Jordan Love against Cleveland.
Okay. I would imagine that's a lot of running in that Cleveland game. Jordan Love, he's not Josh Allen, but it's the same type of deal. Like, where is he going to put the ball? However, the guy has distributed very, very well this year. I think the Danny Dimes and Jordan Love debate, I don't have an answer for that one either, bro. Moving on to Kansas City and the New York Football Giants. Is Kansas City a lost cause this year, gentlemen?
You know what I said?
He said that they're going to miss the playoffs, and I still disagree with that. Starting 0-2 is rough, but you got to look at their matchups. I mean, it's the Super Bowl winning Eagles, and the Chargers could win that division. That doesn't mean the Chiefs won't make the playoffs. But this game is going to be gross. This game is going to be bogged down. That's what the Chiefs like to do. And I think that it's going to be scary starting anyone in this game except for Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors, you got to fire up for sure. The Scatabo Tyrone Tracy thing has clouded it so much where I think both are unstartable for another week until the dust settles and we figure out who it is over there. Kelsey, top 10 guy right now, at tight end.
I think Kelsey could have a huge game this week.
Well, and I think that this is the get-right game for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Has to be.
And it has to be, you're right. I do see this team still in the playoffs. I look at their offense, and it's going to slowly get pieced back together. Xavier Worthy will be back in a couple weeks, and then week 7 you'll have Rishi Rice come back. But this team has to win some games in that interim in order to still be in the hunt when they get their number one weapon
Speaking
back.
of Hunt, 3 yards a carry, Kareem Hunt. Are you playing him? He's
No, I'm
kind of
not
been
playing.
okay.
I'm not
God,
playing
he's
him.
terrible.
I'm not playing him or Pacheco.
What
Patrick
is wrong
Mahomes
with
is the
Pacheco?
leading
Is
rusher
he-
on that team.
Honestly, I think the fact is that they're just stacking the box.
Yeah.
Because you have to worry about a tight end who's
Yeah.
not going deep downfield anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelsey Pfizer Swift just doesn't have the wheels anymore.
Yeah.
And then you've got Hollywood Brown, who's a decent number one when you have to have him there.
What about Thornton?
Thornton
Thornton scores on a deep ball this week and seems like he's getting the deep targets on that offense.
It's interesting.
that
I
could start
wasn't
airing it out
high on
against
Thornton coming
Giants.
out, raw speed guy, not a lot of production. But now getting into the final part, getting into the middle of his career, like 25, 26 years old, it's like, okay, maybe the guy can come together. He was a late bloomer in college. Maybe he'll be a late bloomer in the NFL.
Alec Pierce and Tyquan Thornton both had
Very similar
top
players.
90th percentile athletic RAS stuff. And you're starting to see a quarterback that can actually get the ball to Thornton after he languished in New England without an arm to get him that rock.
Routes were there.
Yeah,
Not the targets, but they're starting to come up, so we'll
Kansas
see.
City is going to focus on getting the ball to what works. Kelsey's going to get a big game. I think you're right. I think you got to get him in your lineup. It's hard to sit Marquise Hollywood Brown at this point because they just don't have anybody else to throw it to. Sitting all of the running backs for Kansas City, sitting all the running backs in this game because I don't know whether it's
would
We got
Scatterbo.
Brashard
No running
Smith
backs
sighting
in
this
this game.
weekend.
He had a carry.
He had a
la-
catch or whatever.
I think he had carry for
That's
2
good.
yards. I do like Brashard, but I think he's far off still.
He's far off, all right.
I think it's just really.
I think this game could be 17-10.
So who are you
14-10.
starting, Russell or Mahomes?
Mahomes.
Oh, if I had to pick, God, I hate them both. But I'm starting Mahomes if I had to pick.
He's got the rushing upside this year. I mean, he's the leading rusher for this team, which, I mean, isn't
Russell's the
saying
number
much,
2
but-
quarterback.
Right. That's against these defenses like Dallas, I think, is a team that we're going to see constantly in shootouts. That's why I told you to go buy George Pickens, by the way. Hopefully you did that last week. I think that this
Great
is
call
just
out of you,
not
bud.
the same. Going against the
Pickens
Chiefs,
was
it's
great.
going to be a low-scoring game.
All right, the Stafford Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of guys that you could potentially play here. I don't think that anybody's benching Kyron Williams despite Blake Corum, vulturing that touchdown. Still got plenty of work. Is there a wide receiver that you're trusting not named Puka for the Rams?
So we had a pretty good game from Devontae.
We did.
Yeah, and those corners in Philly should be better than what they are, but I think that the Rams could win this football game.
Well, I think
see that, too.
I mean, obviously, either team I think is they're both
Something's
playoff
not-
games. I
something
think that
doesn't
both
feel
of these.
right. Maybe this is a get right for Philly, but something doesn't feel right with Philly right now. That offense doesn't look great right
Well,
now.
honestly, every year, the first half of the year, Philly is kind of up and down, and then they go on and win Super Bowls or get to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
My question for you guys is this. We know we're starting Kyron. We know we're starting Saquon. We know we're starting Puka. I'm not starting Devontae Adams. To me, it feels like a DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. Like he's going to get some weeks, and then he's going to disappear in other weeks. There's no tight ends in this game that I'm risking playing, as you have Dallas Goedert coming back from injury. I just don't know what kind of work he's going to get in. So my question is the 2 wide receivers for Philly, have you seen it enough from Hurts at this point where you're trusting A.J. Brown and or Devontae Smith?
I think this is the week because LA is going to put up some points, and Philly's going to have to throw the ball. That's what I think is going to happen this week. And we're going to see a higher scoring game out of Philly, and this is probably going to be the A.J. Brown breakout week.
I agree. That's what I was going to say is I would guarantee a touchdown in this game from A.J. Brown. I mean, he's the type of guy that he is pissed right now that he is having this low production. I mean, he was out there on an island with McDuffie last week, who was not really allowing him to run anything more than a slant. He is one of the best, if not the best, one-on-one corner in the league, shutting down the other team's main opponent. A.J. Brown has read too much of his book on the sideline right now. He needs to get in that end zone, and I think this is the week he'll do it, especially with Devontae Smith getting banged up at the end of that game.
The ski mask boy has arrived, and he has a lot of things he's saying. Of course, he is a Michigan fan, so he prefers Corum to Williams. Davis Allen touchdown in the first 2 games. I've always been a little bit of a Davis Allen fan, but he's never going to get the production outside of some occasional touchdowns where I think you can have him in your starting lineup.
I think we're going to start to see some Terrence Ferguson in there. He's starting to get some routes.
It'll be interesting.
Pretty amazing athlete.
I like the A.J. Brown call. I made that call this last week in my Caesar's best bet, trying to put together a team. Didn't pan out, but at some point, Philly, much to your point, they look a little off right now. The running game obviously works. They're 2-0, but they need to figure out a way to get that pass game going. I think that, this is a great opportunity to do so at home, but the Rams
the game plan for Philly the last 2 weeks, they worked, obviously. So
that's the thing, They worked.
Yep. But at the same point, they know they've got to get that passing game going if they want to repeat as Super Bowl champions. The Chargers at Denver, I can't wait for this game. I don't believe in Denver. Everybody else has been believing in them all offseason. I am not a Jim Harbaugh guy, as you know, but I really saw him change the whole culture of that team in the second half of last season, and they've continued it this year. Great defense, a mauling offensive line, and a quarterback that really finally looks like the Justin Herbert that everybody thought he was going to be. They're headed to Denver. Is this a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game, gentlemen?
I think this is a high-scoring game. I think that this Denver defense maybe hasn't been what it's shaken out to be. Everyone had this defense coming in as the number 1 this year, and they're going to just shut down teams and have as many sacks as they had last year, which is a very volatile stat looking year to year. And I think that this game has true potential to keep these offenses humming like they have been.
Yeah, I think that this game actually puts up more offense than the defensive battle people would have thought in August that this game would be.
We got to catch an alibi. So it was Washington and the Raiders. So let's
go. Well,
yeah,
let's
touch on Washington.
Let's finish the Denver Chargers conversation first.
You play everybody.
Okay, so you're playing all 3 wide receivers?
Yes.
For the Chargers.
Yes.
You're playing Hampton. And you're playing Herbert, that's for sure.
Yes.
No tight end of
no
Disley,
tight end of consequence.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the other side of that, I'm not starting R.J. Harvey.
Not yet. I'm playing J.K.
Yeah,
I'm playing Franklin. I'm playing Sutton.
J.K. has looked pretty good in that offense.
You got to stick with Sutton, even though last week was just
abysmal.
I think you have to. Yes.
So you know who Troy Franklin was best friends with in college, right?
Was it Bo Nix?
Yeah. They roomed together, bro. They were best friends, and they threw a lot of balls together. That's why they drafted him. And I asked you guys a question last week.
It's almost like a Jamar Burrow situation.
Yeah, is Troy Franklin the new? Because they had a great wide receiver there as well. So for me, I don't know about Sutton. He's sitting on my bench after last week.
And you could sit him if you have. I mean, like just in the Fantasy Jerks League, I have Javonte Williams, who I got late. Was able to sit him in a matchup like last week, and it worked out. But I don't think this is going to be a full Allen Robinson collapse or like we've seen in the past where these receivers who are supposed to be good just completely do nothing. He is maybe a touchdown merchant, as some might say, and I think those will come.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, for me...
I think it's going to be a good game.
Oh, I'm actually absolutely tuning in for that game.
At Mile High.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Denver's defense is going to start.
If you have to start Sutton or Franklin, I think you can put them in your lineup. If I have to pick one, I'm going with the second-year Troy Franklin.
I don't blame you.
I'm trying to find some room to start him because I got him in a couple leagues.
Oh, there you go. And now moving on to, what was it, Washington and Dallas? Or what was the game?
Washington versus the Raiders.
Okay, so Chicago's playing Dallas, and then Washington with the Raiders. To me, at this game... Probably a pretty decent offensive game for Washington. I know people are saying that they don't look as good. They have different weapons.
Eckler done.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest question that we have right now is going to be
The running game. They trade Brian Robinson. Probably not a great move on their part.
Not looking good.
They like Bill Crosby Merritt. Guy shows flashes.
But he didn't. He looked bad.
I love
Green
Bill
Bay
as much
though.
as the next guy.
Green Bay. So
Right.
I think it's a
Right.
Bill week.
Good point. I love Bill as much as the next guy. I just truly think that this is going to be a three-headed monster. My prediction is that maybe Bill gets 40% of the carries and he gets the majority. But
Want to hear a prediction?
go ahead.
Or a potential prediction? Just an early call. Could this be the team that trades for Brees Hall?
That'd be interesting.
That would be very
You think that'd
interesting.
be
That'd
interesting?
a great
I think that'd be
landing
freaking fantastic.
That'd be interesting. Brees Hall, he could use a new home, and I would love to see Braylon Allen get the handcuffs taken off of him in New York. So we'll stick with that game. New York Jets at Tampa Bay. We got a
Is Justin back?
I don't know. Justin Fields left the game. Who was the quarterback that came in?
Oh God, Tyrod.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Tyrod
Tyrod.
Taylor.
Man.
Honestly, I was
looked like
I was
shit,
excited
too.
about the Jets after week 1. They looked abysmal last week. I just don't
'cause
know where I can
Fields went
trust
out.
anybody. I'm blanking on the kid's name right now.
Garrett?
Yes, Garrett Wilson really looked at home with him under center, and now without him, I'm just not sure where that passing game is going to
That's
go.
a tough matchup.
I'm still
On the
putting
road
Brees
in
Hall.
Tampa?
I'm still putting Brees Hall in, but I'm not starting any other Jets.
Well, I mean, you have to start Garrett Wilson if
Do
you
you?
draft him. We didn't tell you to draft him, by the way. We kind of told you to.
I mean,
stay
he
away.
looked great after week 1.
Yeah, he sure did. And most likely where you drafted him, unless you had somebody else pop up, like maybe you bench him. Like if you've got Franklin, maybe just in this one you put Garrett away. But if Justin's playing, you have to play Garrett Wilson.
On the Tampa Bay side, we saw Rashad White have a little bit of a resurgence after.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, after Bucky took that job from him last year, he looked very good, and they were using him in crucial time on that last drive.
Winning touchdown.
Does that give you any pause for Bucky Irving? Bucky Irving is a surefire start, correct?
Yes.
No doubt. And then Mike Evans. Where are you guys at with Mike Evans?
I feel like this is going to be a Mike Evans breakout week.
I think Mike Evans is safe this year.
I
Mike
think,
was
I
last
think
year,
Baker's
but-
going to have 4 touchdowns this week. It's just going to be Tampa with huge points against
This
the
is the
Jets
same
defense.
exact thing I said with Trent McDuffie and A.J. Brown. Derek Stingley is one of the only corners left in the league who does it the old-fashioned way and follows around the wide receiver one for the entire game.
Yeah.
And as a Mike Evans owner in multiple leagues, it was so frustrating seeing. I think he got maybe 10 targets and 4 receptions this week. Like,
Oh, Stingley was all over him. I
Stingley's
watched
gonna
that
win
whole
those
game.
one-on-one matchups.
Man, he is really
He
good.
is, and that's not on Mike Evans. He'll have an easier matchup this week, maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay has an easy time at home with the Jets. We'll see if Justin Fields is in that game, which would make it a little bit more intriguing. But New Orleans at the Saints, trash at trash.
New Orleans at the Saints, that would suck if the Saints played the Saints.
That would be the worst game in the
Yeah,
history of football.
That would be the
With
worst
Saints
game in
at
history.
Seattle? Is that what
Yeah.
did I say? Saints
That's
at
a
Seattle?
little
No,
bit
I mean,
better.
well, dude,
Yep.
fire up Walker.
Trash at trash. Yeah.
Chardonnay looked like freaking Barefoot Wines. They're not a sponsor, are they?
No.
Like, it was bad. That was, I mean, play Juwan Johnson, but Seattle's corners are sick. This is not the week to play Olave.
No,
This is
wouldn't
the
be
week
playing
to-
Olave
this is the week
any
to-
week, to be honest, at this point. You got to get Juwan Johnson in there. You got to get Alvin Kamara in there. And then on this Seattle side, K9 and JSN, but I'm not starting either quarterback in this game. I'm not starting any tight ends from this game. A.J. Barner had a rushing touchdown, I believe,
Who cares?
and a receiving. Is there
who
anybody else
cares?
in that team?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp, I think. Torrey Horton had a touchdown last week, too. Maybe you're playing Bradford. Bradford had 3 or 4 touchdowns last week. Seattle looks, I don't know. Seattle's deep.
Who you starting?
I think that if you drafted Kupp, that you have to start him because where you drafted him as your wide receiver 3.
Against the Saints this week, I'd put Kupp in your lineup.
This game might go under, but I still could see a crap ton of points from Seattle.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this
And
game.
maybe like 10 for New Orleans.
Staying away from both teams. I don't really have any ownership anywhere
But
except for Charbonnet.
former Lion Kellen Moore, the quarterback or the coach. I mean, they look. Spencer Rattler's quarterback 16 right now.
Yeah,
He was
that is
quarterback
crazy.
6 last
And
week.
we'll move on to the
Okay, now.
next game.
Rattler's so boring.
And the last one, Pittsburgh at New England. Aaron Rodgers looked great week 1, looked terrible second week. This seems like a game where both him and Drake May can maybe get it going.
It seems like neither of these teams play defense. This might be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, could
Fire,
take the
fire
over
'em up.
scoring.
Fire up the players. Jalen Warren looking really good. I think Jalen Warren needs to be in your starting lineups. Running back 12 right now in PPR leagues. Calvin Austin looking solid. Nobody in New England seems to be covering anybody because they can't get a pass rush. Fire up Drake May. I think we got a booty bounce back.
Is this the Trevion Henderson start week yet?
I
hope so. It's going to happen.
You look at last week, he might be getting punished just because of the 3 holding calls that he got. That's why Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson got the
Ramondre
workload at the end of
Stevenson
that
had a
game.
great game.
That means he's not going to do shit this week.
Well, and it may be, but I think what it means is that you can't start Trevion Henderson yet. And what we saw in the preseason and the excitement that people put him in their week 1 lineups, historically, top end running backs, even first rounders, they just don't get that much work in week 1.
It's going to take a minute, guys. I mean, Bucky Irving and Chase Brown last year both didn't really turn it up until week 4, 5, or 6. So
we went back through the last 10
panic.
years.
Don't panic.
And literally, like, even you look at Jahmyr Gibbs' first week, you look at Bijan's first week, you can go way back. And there's only a handful of guys that actually had a legitimate amount of touches week 1. And to your point, Bucky last year and many others in the past, it's not till week 8 or so that these young guys, these later round picks, end up impacting their teams. So for me, I'm sitting Trevion. I'm enticed by Ramondre, but I'm still leaving him on the bench as well. I think the only guys here that I would be starting would be DK and I guess Jalen Warren.
Yeah, absolutely. Warren, Hunter Henry,
Hunter Henry hasn't shown it
and
yet.
Drake May.
Drake May looked awesome last week, and I think he's going to continue to do that and have a great season this
You
year.
guys trust him, huh?
Yeah, I got him. I started him last
Drake May.
week.
Yeah.
I'm still not sold. Well, we appreciate you guys going through all of those games with us. We're going to get you the quick update on the Fantasy Jerks League. Right now, sitting in first are the Great Lake Avengers and our guy Biggins, a.k.a. Punching Bag, both 2-0. On the bottom, Fuzztown Showdown and the Gridiron Gang at 0-2. And our points leaders, number 1 on the list, Team Bomber, our very own Brendan, with 293.61. Great Lakes in second with 275 points.
On the dorsal fin of Catfish Williams.
That's right.
I'm
That's
going to
right.
ride him all the way, baby.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
That's what she said.
And then third in points, just, what is that, about 0.5 behind Great Lakes is a team called No Vaseline. But I am 1-1, so it doesn't really matter. Points don't win championships. Head-to-head matchups do.
They do.
Hear that, DPO? All right, guys. We are still working on that punishment. Can we play the video?
I don't have a timestamp.
While Ryan's
it's
looking
short.
for
You
that,
can play the whole thing.
Oh, come on, Anson.
while Ryan's looking for that, I'll let you guys know too. We have our first in-house matchup here in the Fantasy Jerks League. This is going to be me versus our very own Ryan from Anchor Bay over there.
We do have a bet.
Just letting you know, we have a little bet on this game. Me, Michigan State alum, big Sparty fan. Him over there, MSU. I can't even say it out of my
Wear
mouth.
Michigan State
A
panties
Michigan
on the air.
Wolverine. We are going to be wearing, the loser will wear the other team's apparel. So I will be wearing a Michigan hat or jersey.
So
or
I want
shirt,
you to
whatever.
lose because you're undefeated, but I want you to
I'm
win.
1-1, by the way.
Oh, okay.
but-
Then yes, please beat his ass because I don't want to see you in corn and blue.
Hey, Ski Mask Boy. I might have to start Diggs this week, too. Little shout out.
I am staying away from Diggs for a couple of years now. This is the next Deontay Johnson of the NFL.
Deontay Johnson didn't do jack shit. Stephon
No,
Diggs.
that's bullshit because Deontay Johnson
Stephon
had
Stephon Diggs
had
was like a
great
wide
years.
receiver 1 for 7 years.
Sure, and
led
then he
the
got
league in
shipped
receiving
out,
yards.
and then he got shipped again, and
And
then
he was
shipped
like wide
again.
receiver 12 when he
no
got
one
hurt
wants him
last
around,
year.
brother. No one wants Stephon Diggs on their team. So,
I gave him $60
Hey, he's got a kid on there.
are you starting him?
Yeah, I might start him this week.
Okay, good luck.
All right, thanks.
Just remember, these are the guys that told you about Elikayu Manor, me and Brandon right here. We might know a little something about receivers. So
That's right, Anson.
put that in your mental.
Yeah, well, we can pull receipts, gentlemen. We can definitely pull receipts. We got that video ready?
Oh, no, my phone's being dumb.
All right. Well, his phone's being dumb, but hopefully
try again
we
next
were
week.
not dumb today, and we gave you all the advice that you need to get the right starts and sits, get that win in week 3. Dante Kelsey, need a wide receiver. Got an offer for Quentin Johnston for my Sam Laporta. Thoughts?
No.
It's a little early. But it's also a homer play to be insisting that Laporta is going to be what he was his rookie year. He didn't have to compete with J-Mo for those targets, and J-Mo really erased Laporta as a premier tight end in the league last year. Not to say that the skill isn't there and that all the ways he affects the game.
Ryan Heath?
I did listen to Ryan Heath, but I haven't seen the production from Laporta yet.
I feel like you can get more out of it.
But I just can't fully buy in on Quentin Johnston.
Me
Like I
either.
mentioned earlier today, Justin Herbert is supporting 3 trustable fantasy options right now. I think we'd all rather have Ladd McConkey or Keenan Allen in our lineups over Quentin Johnston. Maybe not.
Not
Some
a
people
Ladd
like
guy.
the deep ball passers, but I think Quentin Johnston's the one that's going to take a step back if it's any one of these 3. If Herbert has a subpar to average game,
I agree with that
I would
call.
agree that Quentin Johnston, with his drops and history,
I
that
mean,
he
you
could
take away the
definitely.
deep
And
ball
he's the easiest
touchdown,
to
don't want to
cover.
be that
But
guy
he
'cause
was
you can't take away
drafted to
points,
be
but-
this guy.
Right.
Jim did not give up on him. He continued to throw the ball to him last year. They've thrown it to him early and often this year. And we have such a bad taste in our mouth with QJ. But the fact is this, just 10 years ago, it was year 3 for a wide receiver.
breakout.
Now it's
right.
week 12 in their rookie year. It has to be the breakout. So I don't know if I'd make that trade right now. But in 10 weeks, we might be like, wow, you probably should have smashed and gotten QJ.
No, this feels like the guy on the other team is trying to consolidate his lineup, and it's probably a little weak at tight end, and I think you should probably get him for more. He's trying to sell high on Quentin Johnson, and bottom line is I don't care where he is right now. You don't sell a 16th round pick for a 5th round or 6th round pick.
Yeah, Laporta is a high draft pick and a big part of your plan. So I just am not sure that he's going to be the guy that he was 2 years ago, that everybody keeps drafting him last year and this year to be.
Okay.
All right, you
But
ready?
still, yep.
Drop it.
Top 5 most degenerate fantasy football punishments. I do not condone these, especially numbers 2 and 1. Number 5, last place in your league has
The
to go
first one
vegan
sucks.
from the day
That
of your
one's just
fantasy
dumb.
championship until kickoff of the Super Bowl. This will keep the
Well,
boys
there's no way
locked
to
in.
police
Number
it
4, the loser has to go to a
Vegan
local bar when it
till
opens and stay there until
last-
it
till the
closes.
next
You
Super
basically
Bowl.
owe the bar
Last
12 hours,
place
but every beer that you drink
lounge
takes off 15
where you have
minutes.
to
And every
sit
shot
at
takes
a
off half an
bar
hour. Please
for
get a ride to the
24
bar.
hours,
At number
and
3, we have the
every
beer
beer
mile.
you
This
get
must be
15
done on the
minutes
track.
taken off for
After
every
every
shot.
lap,
You have
chug a
to
beer.
enough.
4 laps,
The beer
4
mile.
beers,
That
you
one's-
better be
that
ready.
one
Make
sucks.
sure you time it. You can put their time on the
That's
trophy.
brutal.
Number 2
Yeah,
is
the older
absolutely
you get, the
disgusting.
less
The
that's
cage.
good,
For
buddy.
basically
The
whatever you
cage?
want on
That's
the
just
loser. This
dumb.
is diabolical. I would never agree to this.
That
But
is for
finally, at number
people
1, I
under
did not think of
24,
this, and
I
I
would
can't
say.
believe some people
But
actually
this
do this.
last
The loser
one-
has to pee his pants in front of the fellows. No documentation is allowed. If your
You
league mates
have
want to do this, find a
piss
new
your
league. That's
pants
cooked.
in front of the entire league. And,
I wouldn't
and
even be able to do that.
I think I could.
We'll
I could
feed you
definitely
plenty
do
of
that.
water, buddy.
I could definitely pee my pants. Peeing your pants is cool.
peeing your pants is cool.
Right.
So we're still working on that
I pee
punishment.
in front of my friends all the time. In the water, in the
That-
lake.
That's what got him the girl. That moment,
That's true.
no doubt about it.
That's true.
Well, we appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you could do us a big favor, share this stream in your fantasy group chat. Share this fantasy stream in your fantasy groups on your social media.
Share it with your mom.
Share it with your dad. And smash that like button for us. Big shout out to Ryan handling the production.
Shout out Ryan, smooth show.
My man Brendan working the sound for us.
Big shout out to the Joiks Online and their moms.
And their dads. Shout out to this dad right here. Hopefully you get a win this week, and hopefully I do too. My name's Anson. This is Brandon Kaz. We'll be back at 7:30 next week for episode 6 of the Fantasy Jerks. We appreciate you guys. Have a great